Boy and girl, so this beautiful American Truthway Bible with fine gilt edges and full-page color pictures can be yours for just $9.95. Now, wait a minute. Before you say anything, let me tell you something. This Bible has everything in it, from the creation of this beautiful world of ours to the fall of mankind. It'll give you protection in time of danger. It'll give you health in time of sickness. It'll give you fineness, Leviticus, and Judges. Son of a bitch! Out of the way, bitch! Huh? I'm gonna tear them off, boy!
Attack in a community in Idaho. 2 firefighters were killed and a third injured after they were ambushed while responding to a call about a brush fire. Authorities say the was also dead, and they believe the fire was set intentionally to intense. Andrew Dimmer has the latest.
Authorities in northern Idaho say the man behind a deadly wildfire ambush is dead.
We do believe that the suspect started the fire. We believe that it was an ambush and it was intentional. These firefighters did not have a chance.
Local officials say a small brush fire broke out on Canfield Mountain, and as firefighters responded to the scene, someone began shooting at them with a sniper rifle, killing 2 and injuring a 3rd.
We got 2 responsive battalions, 6 gunshot wounds, multiple gunshot wounds. 2 Coeur d'Alene firefighters are down. I'm pinned down behind Battalion 1's rig. It's clear to me that this fire was intentionally to draw us in.
Law enforcement from across Idaho and eastern Washington rushing to the scene.
We had about 300 law enforcement officers that were on scene trying to make heads and tails out of what was occurring.
A manhunt ensuing, sheriffs confirming they did exchange gunfire with the suspect. Authorities later confirming the gunman had been killed, but it's unclear how he died. With the fire closing in, officials moving in to remove the body from the area.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all having a wonderful time tonight. We have some very unfortunate things to discuss tonight. One of the most evil acts that someone could theoretically do was done over in Idaho. Just an absolutely disgusting story to have to talk about tonight. But we also have some lighter stories, some Christian grifting going on, and people getting kicked out of events for having normal opinions, which is always fun. But before we get into all of this wonderfulness, Bones, how's your night going?
It's going good, King. I'm happy to be back. Happy to have some time with Mom. Dad's been really rough recently and very opinionated, very abrasive. So, I'm happy that it's finally your week to have custody.
Yeah, I have custody again. Sorry, and Protraband had to be there, stepping in for Mom, just trying to be the good parent over there. And Trench was just borderline abusive. I'm going to say it, okay? Borderline abusive to you two over there. For those of you who aren't aware, they were involved in the greatest debate of all time, which was Trigicon versus Hollow Sun, the greatest Chinese defender, Mr. Trench Grenade, versus the Trigicon simp, or the Hollow Sun, however it works. Anyways, we have Team Trigicon with Protraband. How's your night going, sir?
How's it going, folks? I'm the America's strongest defender, #1 Boomer Fudd. Boy, there were some takes I never thought we'd hear in that stream, I'll tell you what. But Bones and I were crying in the corner, huddled over with the shouting as tears streamed down our faces. But we're back here today, ready to have a good time.
Yeah, no, that was I would pay to see that. In fact, I did pay to see that entertainment unfold for like an hour and a half. Yeah, many things were uttered. Optimal Prime John, did you know that Michael Bay is coming back to do another Transformers movie? So what do we got? We got
I love slop.
Another Middle Eastern war. We got Michael Bay coming back to do a Transformers movie, and we have Linkin Park releasing a new album, all in the same year. 2007 is back, guys.
Before
Can't
GTA
wait
6.
for everything to collapse. It's gonna be awesome.
Richard, how's your night going, Mr. or Miss Miku?
It's lovely. Hope everybody's having a good night in chat.
Yeah. And this time we can't blame it on you. You were here on time, technically.
I was.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into the first story of the night, which that clip that was in the intro of the fine Bible salesman, that was actually sent to be my M26 lemon grenade. He made that and sent that to me, so I thought I have to use that in the intro tonight because it essentially summarizes the situation. So, if I don't get scared, chat, calm down. Do not get scared. This may come as a shock to you, but this is a advertising post for a Bible.
Where is the Bible only takes up 2% of the screen. Nice.
It's around 2%. So this is a Bible post. Now the company that makes this is Valley OG. They pride themselves on making variations of different tactical Bibles. I think they have multicam and M81. The price tag of these Bibles ranges up to $80 for these Bibles. And, you know, whenever I see somebody using strange marketing tactics to market a Bible to make insane profits off of, I'm just a little bit callous, some would say. Now, originally, I was just going to leave a comment on his post once this got shared with me, but then he also limits who can and can't comment on his posts. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to screenshot it and put it up myself and be like, hey, why can't I leave a comment about your marketing strategy on an $80 multicam Bible? Now, the response to this is pretty normal. People like sus behavior, you must hate Jesus. Of course, if you don't support my $80 Bibles, you don't want the word to get out or something like that. Protestant moment by Zed, very mean. But yeah, I don't think Luther would have approved of this either. Nor Calvin, Aquinas, Wesley. Yeah. And we don't need to get into that. Selling Bibles with harlots, super mega base bro. That's Jake. Yes, of course. Yeah, and he's been called out for this behavior multiple times, and we'll get to his account. But essentially, a little bit of light bullying works every time because the post is gone. It's gone. In fact, the post before it is talking about like not falling into flesh or temptation with sin. And then the very next post is you an $80 Bible. That, of course, that's now gone. Now, he did respond. He says, gotta follow to comment. Anything you do in life, people will find a reason to hate on you for no matter what. You think Christian behavior is to gossip and put others down? Now, I didn't put anybody down in my post. Ever been in 117-degree weather? I guess that's an excuse. Like, listen, I had to take this photo. I had to sell Bibles this way. I had no other option. It was hot outside. What was I supposed to do? Not use the photo to make money? Why are shorts and a tank top sexualized? Again, nobody has said anything about sex yet at this point. It's just, $80 Bibles and using a female to sell them just seems odd, especially given the content of the book that you're trying to sell.
Specifically, the placement in the photo itself.
Well, it's just strange. It's just all strange. Is it us? Is it us that is making this inappropriate, or is it you? I mean, listen, read the Bible a couple times, and I think it does actually have specific instructions on things that people can and cannot wear. But you may not like that. You might, have issues with that, but you're the one trying to sell that product in a, less than professional manner, we'll say, especially the haters. If there's an issue, why not message us? Let's talk about it. If we are wrong with them, then come to us with valid points. So I tried to leave a public comment, but I have to follow you to do so. So instead, I just pasted. Then he keeps going on. I respond to him, are your Bibles really $80? They are. It's the largest size, if we could offer free custom Kadura Bibles, we would, but that's not within our capabilities. Now, there are multiple companies that actually do offer free Bibles. Shepherd Defensive offers a free Bible that you can also get in a camo pattern. In fact, I know some people, when they buy orders from Shepherd Defensive, I'm going to shill them a little bit. I don't have any affiliation with them, but I will shill them a little bit. They send Bibles out in some of their orders, so you can get a free one. There's also many organizations where you can get a free Bible from. I believe the Eastern Orthodox Church in America will actually sell you a very similar cool looking Bible for $8 because they're not trying to profit off of it. But we're a small business and lots goes into these and our own cost is high. If people don't understand it, then there's nothing we can do about it. Nothing we can do about selling an $80 Bible.
He just said small business. That means he can't be criticized for anything.
True. And then he responds to somebody else saying, just trying to get the word out, dude. I'm just trying to get the word out, bro. And it's like, this is all cope. I think you're just trying to make as much money as possible and sell it in a tantalizing manner, I suppose. Like, you chose to use this marketing strategy. And with a lot of other products, maybe it makes more sense. But with the Bible specifically, it seems like you're just in this for the money, bro.
Is it a good Christian thing to do to sell an overpriced Bible for $80 with a harlot?
Are you? And listen, I don't think there's anything wrong with the girl in the picture. There's nothing. I don't even know who that is. Whoever that is, regardless, right? It could be anybody in there, whatnot. The problem is the $80 price tag, and then using this in conjunction with selling a Bible, right? It's not gossip, dude. It's your public post. Profiteering in Christ's name is never a good look. Yeah, if you profess to be a Christian and you're selling $80 Bibles that are in fact free, they may not. The New World Order doesn't want you to know this, but Bibles are free. You can literally go online and get them right now. Brother, what you're harboring isn't healthy. Do you know how many lives have been changed by God's grace, allowing us the opportunity to be able to offer something like this in our community? An $80 Bible, you're saving lives offering an $80 Bible. They always go to these extremes.
If you criticize me, you're not a good Christian.
It seems like it's a lot more of the hiding behind the Bible to make money, or to try to justify yourself. It's like I'm not even a super religious person. It's just like it seems like cope. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Well, and so M26 Lemon Grenade comes in and he exposes this basically because he's not even a Christian, right? And he's like, says, I have no dog in this fight. I'm just curious, what is this specific purpose? Earlier, I read to spread the word. Is that not the specific purpose of this product? But if that's the reason, if all you want to do is spread the word, then you don't need to sell an $80 Bible to do so.
It's also just like a weird marketing bit to have the thing you're trying to get out there or sell be like this much of the picture. Like, just kind of
right. It's like, if you want to market the Bible, just put the Bible on its own.
At least make it a close up.
Yeah, like it's like hiding. Something. It's almost like I had to look and be like, what is actually being sold here? And I was like, oh, it's the tiny camouflage Bible that she's holding. Guys,
I'm selling this Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, M26. So I feel like I speak for 99% of the non-Christians here. Will not spend $80 for a Bible. So who exactly are you spreading the word to? You're just making money off of your audience. It's like boomer bait, basically. Marketing.
We got a hype beast Bible before we got GTA 6.
Yeah, so the tiny little Bible, which is like, I think just a few, like not even the full New Testament, is $40, and then the full Bible is $80 for a full one. And I think they come in M81, M81 and multicam. And that's all it is, really. I mean, it's a hype beast company, because I'm pretty sure somebody was saying that these hats, when they come out with a new design or whatnot, they sell out, and then people are reselling them for like $100. And it's also a 6-week lead time on the Bibles. Very cool.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how much it costs to like manufacture that. I don't know if they're taking Bibles and putting the Cordura over it and whatnot, but it definitely seems like a lot for like a square foot.
Panels. You can get panels of Cordura for incredibly cheap. We're talking dollars per yard, right?
Oh.
So to cover a Bible in Cordura, even if it was really nicely done by hand, not particularly expensive, right?
Also, Bibles are very, very cheap. It's one of the most produced books of all time.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, let me pull up Shepherd Defensive. So let's
had to
say,
check.
even for the sake of argument, if you're buying brand new nice Bibles for like $8 to $10 a piece, and then it's another $10 worth of material and time, right? We're talking it after shipping and everything, like a 50% margin, which is insane. It's just profiteering. And also, to be clear, that money isn't going to some good cause. It's not like you're donating to a charity. You're donating to this guy's weekend benders and his whore hookups.
Damn.
That's what this guy does on the weekends. So
Yeah,
it's like, you listen, guys. I'm just trying to spread the word and spread some legs at the same time. Okay, they can go hand in hand. As I think that works.
Is
Oh,
that
very
what
Christian
happens
of
at
him.
is that what happens at those Bible study groups that Dirty Civilian was talking about, where he was trying to get people to buy these Bibles?
Oh, was it the Dirty Civilian guy showing this stuff too? Because I know that they
Yeah,
were also
I just-
affiliated with OTG and
I linked it to you in private chat.
I see. Where did they put their Bible? I'm gonna go to. Why is there?
I feel like this is kind of a recent thing. I mean, I've been into the gun space and gun tube and stuff like that. And I mean, I'm not like hyper into it, watch every video of every content creator, but I feel like the religion, I don't know, associating the Bible and religious stuff heavily with your firearms product or channel is a very new thing. And
Absolutely
correct me if
not.
I'm wrong. It just feels very new.
Yeah, you are. You are.
I am. Am I wrong? Okay.
Yes.
Am I wrong? Then that's fine.
Yes,
I'll
you
admit
are.
it. That's
It's
fine.
there in Shooters Illustrated magazine for probably the past 20 years. In almost every issue, there is at least one page in there where they're trying to sell a Bible or sell you something related to the religion, and then you get a Bible free, right? In essence,
Okay.
you're buying the Bible. But yeah, in almost every issue of Shooters Illustrated, and it's been that way for quite a while.
And you can quite literally go to Shepherd Defensive right now. Again, I make a 60% affiliate off of all of the $0 that they sell these Bibles for, and you can go pick up a Bible right now for free. And they come in several different covers, and yeah, literally $0. And you can choose to donate if you'd like to, but they do offer it to you for free. So you can do it that way instead.
It's almost like they're trying to spread the word without profiting off of it.
Whoa. Crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, you can that's how Bibles get made, is by some profit somewhere or donations, right? So I'm not making money is not necessarily the problem. It's your marketing strategy given the content of the Bible, right? Which would probably, as I cheekily said, you seem like the type of guy who might be thrown out of a temple. The content of the Bible does not match this marketing strategy, and you also don't need to be making an insane margin on your products with the facade of just trying to spread the word. All right, bro. I think that's called lying, which is also not. I think it's like a commandment or something. It's one of the big ones. It's one of the few rules, right? I think there's like 10 of them or something. 6 Hour for $4.99 says Trench Safariland sponsorship equals $50 off coupon and a free hat to cover his self-done haircut.
Lol.
If we want to transition topics there, no pun intended, but
Transitioning.
go watch Sig's, or not Sig, sorry, I got Sig on my mind. Go watch Trench's new sponsorship video with Safariland. Quite an entertaining piece. I don't know if you have thoughts on that, Protraban.
No, it's great. It's totally legit. Yeah, we love Trench. Sponsored soon by Head and Shoulders, maybe, for the mop that's coming up. I'm happy for Trench. If he can get that bag, we all happen to love Safariland, so it's great that he could conveniently immediately get that sponsorship going.
I did post in our little group chat that Protraban unintentionally calls Trench a shill. Trench not 48 hours later. You know what? I'm getting a sponsor just to spite you.
Rent free, baby. Rent free. Let's go.
I personally. Oh, good.
No. You're fine. These guys, they paid us money, but like whatever. They're not important. Keep going.
I was just gonna say I think taking a sponsor you believe in and that is generally good and not chilling shit products is not a bad thing. The timing was just really funny.
It is funny. It sometimes things just line up.
Yes.
Speaking of timing and lining up, Loops the Cat for $2 says they are on Sig time around here. Well, listen, homies, we have a very, very painful Sig video for you guys to watch shortly.
Yeah, we
it's
go
only
off
about
whenever we want.
it's only about 30 seconds long, but it's going to be a rough one. Thank you, Loops the Cat, for 2. Coppertone 32 says Trench eats corn the long way. You know, in speed eating, you actually do eat corn the long way. Have you ever seen somebody eat corn in like 30 seconds or even shorter than that's like 15 seconds and they're just done with a whole cob of corn?
How do you
Wild.
know
New
this?
Wendy's 4 for 4.
Somebody sent it to me. It's just like a meme because it's just the way he eats. It's like, what is he doing? And then it's gone. It's like, oh, okay. I wonder how he figured out that he could do that. Moving on. Thank you, Coppertone 32. A huge ass 29 says Trench moans when he wipes. Oh no, thank you, huge ass. You would know. 6.49 says Trench doesn't wipe, he swirls it. Mike, the hygiene habits of YouTubers that I did not need to know. Thank you.
Still
for the
better than
49,
India.
sir.
Whoa.
Mitchell Black, damn it, we're still talking about how Trench wipes. Mitchell Black for $4.99 says Trench doesn't wipe. He likes the muddy feeling between his cheeks. Whoa.
For the
Whoa,
last
Mitchell
time,
Black.
Mom, it's not shit. It's gamer gunk.
I've never heard that before.
You haven't heard that one before?
Whoa.
I've never heard that before. Wow.
I'll have to send it to you.
Wowzers.
Damn.
Clip it, chat. Clip it.
Oh, that's no, we're never doing that again. In fact, he might be banned. Just kidding. I would never do that. J Mint for $1.99 says a new Bay Formers in this economy. True. Yeah. A new Bay Formers. It's happening. Is it going to be good? No. But it is
It's a
happening.
recession indicator, actually.
Probably. Jake Zorp, actually, you probably have a lot to say about the Bible topic. So while we're on it, I did send you an invite, Jake. So if you're still watching, go ahead and just click that link and you can say your piece on that because I'd be happy to hear you. Huge ass for $4.99 says, hello, Mr. Trench Grenade, here with best optic horizon. True. I mean, I do agree that the 507 comp is like the best because it's right here. It's right here. The only reason it's not on my handgun is because I'm doing a review on a different optic, and that's the only time it comes off. But
are we going to take
good
bets
optic.
on if Trench gets Hollow Sun sponsorship next?
It's not going to happen. not if Josh is still working there. I'll tell you that. Mitchell Black for $1.99 says awooga. I wonder what that's in reference to. Probably a Bible ad. Yeah, remember that's in reference to a Bible ad. Yeah. Thank you for the $1.99. Dr. Fuzzy One for $1.89 says, who up Cold Hammer Forging they barrel right now? You know, it's an expensive process, but it does yield good results. Thank you, Dr. Fuzzy. Hey, and we got Jay. We are the balaclava stream tonight. I guess we should all put on masks or something.
I just had to
around here.
match. I didn't want
Let's
Purge to
go.
feel left out, so
Oh, thank you, Jake. I love it.
Hey, so what do you think about $80 Bibles?
I mean, I left that comment.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I know you did.
it is kind of disgusting, and I know someone in the comments brought up the whole Trump Bible thing, and they're like, not to get political, but Trump also sold Bibles, and I would agree. I think when Trump was selling Bibles for $70, it was also disgusting.
Also disgusting and cringe. Yes, it's just
Yeah.
if you're doing that type of thing, it's disgusting and cringe. Now, the only type of expensive Bible I will allow are like the ridiculously oversized, like my family. You see like family Bibles
Yeah.
where it's the huge, full size, real leather bound, like silver lined or gold, like whatever it happens to be. Right? Very, very expensive ornate Bibles. Do you need those? Absolutely not, but they can be expensive.
Gotta
Yeah,
get
no,
that
just like
gold.
a heritage type Bible, it's leather bound, really nice, big, even like an old Bible around for a while. It's cool, but like I'll buy the ESV economy Bibles for like $1.50 from Amazon, and I keep those in my car just in case I need to give out a Bible to somebody. Because it's like it's like, why not? Why not? And to be trying to sell one for $80, I get it. They're like, oh, it's so cool. It's like
It's a fashion statement, though. I hate that.
It bothers me.
You're
Yeah.
turning the Bible into a fashion statement. Did you get your latest June drop of the multicam M81 Bible for $80 from Valley Forge?
Yeah,
You
and
didn't. You missed out, bro.
the ad just kind of sends it over the top for me. Everything else aside, the Bible, $80, Cordura, whatever. The fact that they advertised it in that
Already
way,
cringe,
it's
but
just like,
yeah.
dude, come on.
Well, and whatever Cope the guy wants to say about it in the comments, like he deleted the post. He knew it was a bad
Yeah.
look. So I mean, he can cry all he wants, but he knew it was a bad look. And listen, guys, all it takes to apply some behavioral correction is a slight bit of bullying. Just a tiny bit of social shame will almost immediately correct behaviors that we don't want to see promulgate throughout society. So keep that in mind for your future reference.
Yeah, a little bullying goes a long way, actually. We should totally bring it back.
just a tiny bit of bullying. I mean, this guy's Instagram alone is 4 times my size, and just one little post gets it taken down. So now my audience might be a little bit aggressive, to be fair, but even so, I think you realize that it was just a bad look. Andrew Vachon in the house for 499 says, I was in the Team Trigicon corner, but the Night Force Mafia made me an offer I couldn't refuse, though they require Aimpoint as an enforcer. Yeah, once you're in the Night Force category, you just never go down after that. But listen, if we're talking about Trigicon versus Holosun, while the 507 comp is my favorite dot of all time for competition purposes, I also won a match on Saturday with a SRO, which I also thought was a really good dot. So, yeah. But I mean, we don't need to have another hour and a half topic about that unless you want to.
No.
We could hype it up, have a fake fight about it. Art Vandelay for 199 says, people that don't like the cog, don't like the stream. This is a Gears of War reference, sir. In this economy, thank you for the 199 Art Vandelay. Andrew Basham for another 499 says, how quickly can I make this a Protestant versus Orthodox debate? Well, listen, Andrew. Protestants were getting lots of flack, okay, for this, but all I'm going to say is Protestants were created because of Catholic indulgences, selling reductions to purgatory. So if we want to talk about what church was whored out first, we can go down that pipeline. So just saying. Thank you, Andrew, for the 499. So now it's going to be a 3-way battle up in here. Subarctic Psycho for 2 says, I'll support her losing 30 pounds. No, she looks fine. She looks fine.
Yeah, that's not very nice.
Yeah, no, she's not a pig. She's fine. Again, the girl herself, whatever, doing her thing, doesn't matter. That's irrelevant to the conversation. Zephon for $2 says, $80 camo Bible, shaking my head. Protestant's gonna Protestant. Man, get a bad rap, okay? I'm just saying, a few bad actors, that's all it takes. Like the Catholic priest meme, just a few bad actors. Andrew Basham 49 says, I know. For the record, I'm a mackerel snapping papist, as Knowles would say, right? That's Knowles saying.
That is a Knowles thing to say, yes.
Thank you for the 199, sir. 6 Hour for 49 says, nothing says come to Jesus like short shorts, double A's, and a truck bed full of blessings. 6 Hour, thank you for the 499. Art Vandelay for 499 says, paying $80 for a multicam Bible, cringe. Stealing Bibles placed by the Gideons, based. Yeah, people, again, if you don't want to spend $80 on a Bible, go to your local Motel 6, hand them $50, go into the room, steal the Bible, walk out. Much cheaper. And you get a free place to stay. Thank you for the $4.99 Art. Although I would never recommend stealing. Absolute Moonman for 5 says, fun fact, the U.S. Army will give you a multicam Bible for free, and it will probably be a normal version of the Bible, no less. Yeah, I mean, as we said, Shepherd Defensive gives them away for free. You can go to the Eastern Orthodox Church of America. I forget the exact name for it, but they don't give them away, but it's $8 for a multicam Bible, right? Because they basically sell them at cost to you. So there are plenty of places to get a cool Bible for free or next to free.
The Army ones are IR compliant too.
Ooh, there you go. Heck yeah.
He is right though. You go
Buzzword.
sign up for the Army, sell your life for 4 years, you get a free Bible, and you get a bunch of injuries that the Army is going to claim is not their fault, and it's
You will
great.
get paid.
Not
well.
Every college, we're now shilling for the Army. The stream, yes.
Absolute Moonman for 2 says the King James version, but nobody is perfect. I mean, King James isn't bad. It's a little flowery in today's language, but it's fine. Thank you for the $2. Huge ass for $199 says $80 Bibles sponsored by T-Rex Arms.
Whoa.
No, they would never do an $80. As much crap as people give them, they would never do an $80 Bible. I think that would be That would be a final betrayal of their Christian values. Thank you for that, huge ass. Absolute Moonman for 5 says, back when Christians didn't play silly games, they would go to war with each other over things like this. True. Yeah, it's like we could argue about the canon. Somebody else was bringing that up in the comments, actually. It's like, well, it's probably missing a few books because the Catholics have 77, the Eastern Orthodox has 79, and the Ethiopians have 81 or something crazy like that. So we could argue about what's in the Bible. That's the big problem. Thank you, Moonman, for the 5. Pat for 199 says, if you had $1,500, what would be added to your safe right now? A CZ TS2. I would put that in the safe right now. What about you guys?
A DMR upper for my AR, like a 20-inch nice free-floated upper.
Nice.
Put that together.
I would probably.
I was going to say I would get 18.75 $80 Bibles.
That's it. Damn. 18 Bibles. That's rough.
18 and 3/4 Bibles. So
yes,
yeah, I get most of one as well.
I would probably have to get an FNX 45 and an Osprey silencer co, the 45 suppressor, just because Black Ops 2. Don't laugh at me.
Fair enough. Fair.
I would do a Grand Power Strabog in 45 for the UMP LARP. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. 45. Do they make it in 45?
And 10. Yes, sir.
Nice.
Damn.
Interesting. Cool.
1 millimeter makes a difference.
Prochaban took my answer. I was going to go with the Strybog, but in 9mm.
Just it's fine. Or usable, I'd say. But thank you, Pat, for the 199. Art Vandalay says, is it the NIV and is it NIR compliant? It is the New King James. And it doesn't say if it is IR compliant, at least as far as I can see. So
You gotta pay 120 for that one.
Yeah, the IR compliant version is 120. Sorry about
Unless you enlist and sell your souls, that is free.
Damn, still catching flags. Zephon for 2 says, using Jessies to shill $80 Bibles is Protestant AF, man. I think we need to separate Protestants from evangelical. I think if we did that, if there was that delineation at least, feel better about it. But damn, catching flack. Mr. Johnny Moo for $10 says, Bones, you're forgetting about companies like Paraclete using the Crusader Cross as their company logo before becoming lame, and Trichicon putting Bible verses on their optics even still. Yeah, but you're not buying a Bible verse, you're buying an optic that has a Bible verse on it.
And I was more referring to on the YouTube side. I know a lot of companies in the past, I've seen the Trichicon optics, they've got the base coat on them. I don't remember what it is, but I meant more so on YouTube specifically, not just in general and stuff.
Mm. Yeah, it's there's a slightly like right-wing correlation with the gun industry, as it seemed like more of a traditional space, which is also going to lend itself to be more of a Christian space. So there is a lot of overlap in there, even if people aren't explicitly like, we're right-wing Christians only here, right? But there is just a lot of overlap there. Pat 109 says trench is for trench foot. Oof. Last one for now.
Sorry,
it's good. Is Mark 499 says, head on over to the Buy Sell Trade channel on the Focus Trip Discord, where I will be reselling my UCB Kodura Talmud. Yeah, have a good time giving that away. Quite a funny read, but we have to keep moving on, because not only is selling $80 Bibles cringe, but not just saying no to an unelected Senate parliamentarian, also major cringe. Now, I imagine everybody in here has been familiar with the happenings or the nothing ever happens of the HBA and Short Act, but essentially those bills originally inside of the Big Beautiful Bill would remove suppressors and SBRs and SBSs from the NFA entirely. However, due to the Senate parliamentariat, a unelected lady who's been doing her job for 12 years at this point, without much of an issue, because they really shouldn't do anything other than make sure a addition to the bill is legal, right? So they really don't do anything unless they really feel strongly about a subject, I suppose. But she said that Actually, you can't put those in there because it's not about taxes, and therefore it can't be put inside of a budget bill, which is part of the bird rule, right? Bird rule, sorry. So they're calling it the bird bath. So there was a plan B in place to, if it did not pass the Senate parliamentarian and the bird ruling, that they were going to reintroduce it. But instead of removing them from the NFA, it simply removed the tax stamp. So the tax stamp goes from $200 down to $0. And that did pass the bird rule. So that is currently in the big, beautiful bill that is maybe going to make it out of the Senate before Friday. I think the goal is to get everything passed by the 4th. That may or may not happen. However, everybody is still pushing to get it back in fully. They want the full amendment back in. And all you have to do to get the full HPA and Short Act back in is to go up to the Senate parliamentarian as the vice president or as the Senate leader and tell her. And you simply overrule her or you fire her because you have the power to do that. So the Senate leader, which is unfortunately my representative, John Thune, here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or JD Vance can simply fire her or tell her, nah, it's fine, bro, and pass the full thing. Now, will they end up doing it? Probably not. If I had to guess, again, if I were a betting man, probably nothing is going to happen. But as it stands right this second in time, they're still attached to the NFA, but there's a $0 tax stamp, which, if we want to kind of make the positive argument, yeah, it's not everything we wanted, but this could be a step towards what's called common use, right? Which means that they're much harder to regulate in the future if somebody wanted to try and ban suppressors or ban NFA items, because they would probably, this would still be a big boon to sales, therefore bolstering the common use argument, which means that you can't regulate them as well. So there are some silver linings here, but this is simply not what people wanted, right? So they want call the U.S. Senate and urge Leader Thune to fire the parliamentarian and reinsert the full NFA tax repeal language into the OBBB, or the one big beautiful bill. So kind of an interesting situation. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, this is so dumb. This has the exact same energy as Hawaiian judge stops Trump from doing whatever. You guys remember that back in the day? We voted for this, so just enact our agenda. It's like, let's go. At the same time, it's kind of interesting that this would get done quickly. You could make the argument that braces are all in common use, so it should be legalized, but it's just suddenly getting free, unfettered access to suppressors and short-barreled firearms. It kind of makes me wonder, like, what is the motivation for that almost? A little tinfoil hatty, but I don't know, that's just my take.
Well, if you remember, there was a period of time where they gave away free tax stamps for suppressors. You guys remember that?
Correct.
Where they did that for a while, and they probably got tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of registrations, I would imagine, from that. So what this would do, for sure, like, for instance, if your $200 22 suppressor, if the tax stamp got removed on that, it literally cuts the price in half, right? So now you can go out and buy a 22 suppressor for $200, $150, whatever it might be. You're still going to have to get fingerprinted. You're still going to have to get that registered to your name or in a trust, and everybody who's in that trust will have to have their fingerprints submitted. But yeah, it's almost like a bait, I suppose, like a bait on a hook to get you into a registry, almost, is what it seems like.
Yeah, registries never lead to anything good, usually.
Registries are cringe, but I know for some states, some people will probably be a little bit happy, because I know there's a few states where it's in their law that you have to have it be through a registry. So blue states still have their suppressors more so, I guess, but get rid of it. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I want to be positive about it and be like, this is a W for sure, but it's kind of like a we've won, but at what cost type deal. Like it's still not
I mean,
great.
it is better on a technicality than it was before, and it is going to make suppressors and SBRs much more popular, especially since the wait time has gone down so drastically. Like if you think about, go back 2.5 years, doing a $200 tax stamp, year waiting period for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like a week waiting period. And if this passes, $0 tax stamp. So you know how we like slowly lose rights over time? This is like the opposite, where you're like gaining everything back almost. So it's not everything that you would want, because of course we would rather just have them removed from the NFA. Now, even if they were removed from the NFA, keep in mind, you would still have to sign a 4473 for these items. So really the only difference is that you give them fingerprints. Now, when you're somebody like me, government's already got my fingerprints from many different things, right? I own multiple suppressors, multiple SBRs. I got fingerprinted when I did a tutoring job during college. I got fingerprinted in Washington State for that when I was tutoring kids, right? Because they do, the big background check. So most people, like, if they don't have your fingerprints, then they don't have your fingerprints. But if they do, then it's kind of like a moot point at that point, right? You're not handing over anything more than you would be on a 4473.
Yeah, we're slowly getting 2A wins while we're rapidly spending billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
I will say, on the idea of the registry, I think some people go a little too schizo on it. They're like, oh, they're fingerprinting us so that they can have us in a database, and then whatever the outcome of that is, and they get a little schizo. And I think that's kind of crazy. But
is the fact that if someone passes and then that device is inherited by a family member who then isn't registering it, that then creates a pathway where the government can charge them for crimes that they weren't even aware were crimes. And that is a violation of constitutional law in itself.
I don't know that that's happened. Because a lot of the cases...
No, it hasn't happened, but it has, because it hasn't. It's the situation hasn't presented itself yet, because we don't have,
I mean, it's still, people will still pass on and have transferable machine guns or suppressors or whatever, and they'll die, and their family members will have it, and they'll say, "What do we do?" And I don't know of a
bring
case.
it to a gun buyback program.
Here's what I'll say to this. If you want to get the realistic conspiracy theory about this stuff is, if Republicans can take the tax stamp down to $0, then Democrats can take it up to $2,000. Right.
Exactly.
If they're still attached to the NFA. So, and again, all it takes is 51 votes and a Senate parliamentarian in your favor, right? And it's like, well, listen, they took it down to $0. We're just going to bump it up to match inflation.
And they could, that's what I was going to say. They could match percentage-wise what it was back in the 1920s when it was $200 and make that argument.
Oh, damn. Okay, well, what is, let me see this.
Well, that's points that have been brought up. That's a point where people who argue against it will say, well, the taxes never change, so it really should be like $2,000. And I've heard that argument from the left a lot.
Damn, son. So, okay, guess right now, $200 in 1934 is equal to what in 2025?
$15,000.
6,500.
You guys are a little high.
I'm going for 2,400.
It is $4,800.
Damn.
So the inflation argument is $4,797.99, and that is $200 in 1934. So that is how prohibitive that was back then. That's insane.
Yeah,
and it just hasn't changed for roughly 100 years at this point. So now $200 is like nothing, but back then, like that's a car. That's a car back in 1934. That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, they chose that $200 because it was the selling price for the Thompson 45.
Oh, right, because they wanted to double it, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see some people in the chat saying, common use isn't a test for so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. I just want to remind you all, I don't care. We should have access to just about everything. You could argue everything our military has to be truly fair and equal here as citizens. So if it's not in common use, that's not a great argument for me. We should clearly have
Well,
access.
so
The founding fathers.
the
held
arguments that I
private-
make are from a legal perspective, right? To try and help in that regard, but like morally or according to the Constitution, like I mean, we all know that like these things are BS, right?
Mhm.
But I'm just trying to make like a pseudo legal argument that if
Look at that.
everybody owns the suppressor, it's harder for them to ban them in the future, basically.
Yep. I mean, the founding fathers helped private citizens buy warships, which is equivalent to major
Paid them to
military
take
hardware
on pirates.
Yeah.
Let's get boys. We're ordering the AC-130s. Let's go.
That's right. Biggest kill streak back then was a dreadnought.
Yes. Civilian nuclear bombs, as I like to say.
Well, they already
Legalized
have
nuclear
those.
bombs.
Already exist, though. But who do
Yeah.
you think makes
Yeah.
them? The government doesn't make anything. It's all civilian, independent contractors and shit that make the bombs.
It's all Raytheon, guys.
I do not support the big beautiful bill. I support Raytheon, General Dynamics, and whoever else is bombing the Middle East currently. Listen, I saw those B2 propaganda films. Amazing work. Central Sands
B2s.
Defense. Same. Central Sands Defense for $2 says, "Can't we all just get along?"
No.
Needed
Not
that
anymore.
last night.
You know, that would have worked in the 1950s. Not anymore, good sir, though. There are some
As a
people you just
society-
can't get along with.
That's because
As a
people were
society,
still scared we were
based
going to
it
drop
on-
another nuke on them.
Well, you say that, but yeah, when mutually assured destruction is on the table, people do tend to act a little bit more polite. Todd and Docs for $2 says the anti-Protestant hate gives them away. $80 SIGs. I know Todd and Dogs is a little spicy, but even this went over my head if this is in reference to something. But thank you, Todd and Dogs. Appreciate it, sir. Mitchell Black 499. Okay, perfect. I just reported this right-wing terrorism stream. Yes, of course. Yes, thank you very much. Appreciate that. YouTube AI overloads. That was a joke.
They are wearing masks.
You're gonna end up in prison with Liver King.
Dude. That's gonna be a funny time. What a wild man. Charles Chuck for $5 says, random question, has anyone seen or used the Daniel Defense PCC? I want to get a PCC for USPSA because PCC sounds like fun. Also, selling Bibles for that much is insane. True. Listen, PCCs and USPSA, just buy whatever the heck is cheap and throw in a delayed buffer system and you're pretty much good to go. You don't need
buy
to spend.
Daniel Defense.
You're
They're
already
too
cheating.
expensive, and they're not that great.
Well, yeah, you're kind of cheating, but if you want something like that's designed for USPSA, you just buy a JP for like $1,500 to $2,000, and that's going to do everything you want out of the box for USPSA. If it's a gamer gun, it's a gamer gun. If it's just something for fun to train with, buy it, get something cheap. Because like cheap 9mm subguns, blowback guns tend to work. They're just very, very simple.
I seen today, I got an email from, I think it was Delta Team Tactical or Davidson Defense, or one of those
Yeah, I know.
two. It was $200 for a complete 9mm upper, like 11-inch.
Wow.
Yeah, I was considering buying one.
I mean, they're simple guns, and I mean, there's not a lot of pressure that has to be worried about compared to 5.56. I mean, it's tube and barrel and FCU.
Yeah. There's no gas system. It's a bolt carrier group and a buffer and a spring. That's basically the entire operating system.
Yeah, I have an 8-inch one. I was just thinking, like, do I waste the $200 and buy an 11-inch?
What was it? What were the barrel lengths? 8-inch to 11-inch. I mean, like marginal differences at best.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's not really. You're not getting a whole lot of anything out of that difference in barrel length.
Trying to find a JP5 in stock. What does a JP5 go? JP5s are crazy expensive. Never mind. But a regular JP15 is like $1,500. So, but yeah, just get something cheap and fun, or buy a pre-built gamer gun if you want a gamer gun. 50 TNCSA for $10 says EMTs and fire should be armed and armored. Change my mind. I'm also an EMT, so I'm biased. Man, if stuff like that happens more, there's no argument against that. I mean, that's a wild. We'll get into it later on. Unfortunately, that is a wild situation.
Yeah, they
Well, you
should be
seen
able
that-
to carry I mean, why not? They deal
The
with crazies.
the fire department and EMTs in Israel now double as bomb disposal units.
Israel mentioned.
In that.
Another 50 million. Ian Kemper
Another
189
one.
says, "Don't dog on my religion because I bought the DLC." That's what Mormonism is. Mormonism is Christian fan fiction or Christian DLC. That's what I'll call it. Huge ass for 499 says 4 years. I did 6 years and all I got was a 90% rating for my troubles. I'm sorry, bro.
Well, you're
Hey,
doing good for only 4 years in, yeah, or 6. Yeah,
No,
90%
listen,
's pretty good, man.
that's a lot.
I am very glad that on your 90% disability, you choose to super chat and support this stream with government funds. I love it. It's
incredibly based.
the
Government-sponsored
cycle of
stream.
True. Thank you, Huge Ass. I appreciate it.
Does
And
that
thank
mean
you
we're
for your
funded by
service.
the military-industrial complex?
Yes.
Yes. Todd Docs for 2 says Amazon has a camo Bible NIV $4.98. Sigas rejoice. Yeah, I mean, the argument that I have to charge $80 for a Bible, even if it's a nice Bible, just be honest. Listen, and the money goes to him. It's not going to some nice cause somewhere. It just goes into his pocket so he can buy more trucks and horses. Like whatever. 6 hour for $4.99 says $1,500 equals a DNA and a chromosome blood test for Trench. Need to protect the next generation.
It's going to be more than that because he has an extra chromosome that he has to test.
Yeah.
Rude Mitchell Black 499 says if you're wearing a mask on stream, there's 100% chance you have a My Little Pony corn folder on your computer. No.
Oh fuck! I'll have you know
Some-
it's on my iPad. Thank you.
Wait,
Amateurs.
Protraman, didn't you do a fake face reveal?
On one of my thumbnails, yeah. Nothing
Okay.
too crazy. Yeah.
I
No.
do remember that. I think you post
Everybody
something over
knows-
the mask.
Yeah, everybody knows what Jake looks like. He just looks pretty underneath the mask. What can I say? He's a proud Islamic extremist. Coppertone 32 for 109 says they want to change the NFA to fluctuate with inflation. Yeah, that would be the worst possible outcome. Yeah.
Yikes! Let's hope
And
not.
that is the counter argument to that. Just if
Yeah.
we get it off the NFA now, we win, right? Versus if it's still on the NFA, then they can change it in the future.
We're bringing it back and we're doubling down.
Central Sands Defense for $5 says get on a list. You acting like we aren't already on the list. Very true. If you're cool
Yeah.
enough to be on this stream, you're probably already on the list.
If you're in the Discord, they got you.
I'm just now learning about this.
Everyday American for 5 says I'm okay to keep the NFA if it meant getting rid of the sale of public land to BlackRock and the Chinese. Yeah, so Richard, can you fill me in on this? Did the public sale of land, did that get back on the bill?
So it did get put back in Friday night, and then it was removed later after that. So he tried to put it back in after he said he would remove it.
Yeah,
and
because he
was
had a
willing to
statement
work
saying
with-
he took it out.
Yeah, he said he took it out and he would be willing to work with Trump. And then, like, within 24 hours, he was putting it back in.
Sounds like politician speak to me.
Yeah.
But I think, speaking of Mormons, actually, it was he's like a really affiliated with the big Mormons in the Utah area where a lot of the land was going to be sold. So it was almost like he's putting up this public land for his buddies to buy, which slightly scummy behavior if true. Focus Trip's wife for 189. Hello, Anna says I've got your fingerprints all over me. Oh no.
Damn.
Huge Ass 189 says if you're not already on a list, you ain't living. True. Thank you, Huge Ass. Man, people are obsessed with lists today. Pat for 499 says if you're not on a list, you are a Fed. Well, if you're a Fed, you're probably also on a different list. But thank you for that. Nick for 5 says, for the record, they did this to the Dems last time they patched a budget with reconciliation. This is a normal, nonpartisan. People don't want to hear it. I think that she's or the Senate parliamentarian. There's only been 6 of them since 1930 something when they came into position, and the last time there was a tussle was like the early 2000s. if I remember correctly off of the one article I read. But I'm not a Senate parliamentarian expert, as most people are not, because most of the time we never hear about them, ever. That's probably the way it should be. But thank you, Nick, for the 5.
The way it should be
Jay-
is we shouldn't have the position because it's an unelected position.
Well, I don't know. I think technically it's to make sure that people follow the actual rules, but then when people are following the rules, it's just a position where somebody is essentially saying, I don't like what you're doing here, even though it technically follows the rule. Because the amendment, like no tax has, as far as I'm aware, no tax has ever not passed the bird rule, except for this one. But it's obviously it's a little more touchy because it's the NFA, so people start getting a little squirrely about that. AAC gave my suppressor a baffle strike. Pick in the Discord. PSA Horror Story Channel. Don't buy AAC ammo. Is that a new one or is that one of the older ones?
I'll check real quick.
Can I go on a very quick tangent about AAC ammo?
Go for it.
One of my homies, who's in my unit in the National Guard, he's like, "Hey, I want to buy some ammo for some 9mm and some 5.56 with some cheap good stuff." And I said, "Stay away from Turkish ammo and AAC." I said, "They're bad." And then one dude comes in and he's like, "No, man, AAC's great. I've shot 8,000 rounds. I've never had an issue." And I was like, "No, man, I wouldn't do it. There's a good chance it's gonna, mess up your gun." And sure enough, what's the order? BPS 9mm and AAC 5.56.
Perfect.
What the? Okay, cool.
You tried to help him. Yeah. Ouch.
You did
What can
everything
is
you
that?
could.
20 rounds of their 69 grain hollow point boat tail. Surefire 5.56 RC2. That's an expensive can to ruin with cheap ammo, sir.
Why?
Yikes.
Why
I'm
are
sorry to hear
people?
that.
Why are people still doing this? Like, haven't you seen this stuff? It's a known issue. Why do people keep doing it?
Okay.
Grand
How
Theft
come there's
Auto
3.5
every
million? There's 3.5 million Sig P320s out in the wild. It's like
Yeah, I
you've
was
seen the
gonna say.
videos, haven't you? But people still like at my local match. I
It
had
won't
people
happen
shooting
to
the
me.
P320, and what they say is, "I don't know, I just like it." It's like, well, it's fine.
I would just
but-
think if
A lot
you
of
are,
people
if,
don't know better.
I would think that if you're buying an RC2, you probably know better, or at least you should. Maybe I'm wrong.
Mm-mm.
Well, there's big YouTube channels pushing AAC every week.
Are there
Yep.
really?
This is true.
Indeed,
This
you say.
is a true fact.
6 hour 499 says Trunch is lucky he can't be fingerprinted. They are smooth, just like his brain.
Nice.
6 hour 499.
Amazing.
Roasted. Andrew Vachon for 499 says, what worries me most is Paula Critters will now consider the issue done and any momentum for true NFA reforms is lost. I think so. I think that they will tout the $0 tax stamp as a huge win and then kind of use that to say like, hey guys, we gave you what you wanted, even though we passed like the worst bill of all time with the big beautiful bill, It's like a nugget of what you want. They give you one little nice thing in a gigantic pile of crap.
Yep.
I think that everybody needs to take the lead and steel method here and just donate money to Act Blue to stop the APAC people from doing this again.
True. We need to get the Act Blue people to fight the APAC people, and then if they both kill each other, it's kind of like, oh well, oops.
The good
Ian
version
Kemp.
of mutually assured destruction.
Yeah. Ian Kemp for 499 says, dudes tweak about lists like they aren't already compromised if a family member has taken a 23andMe test. Yeah, wasn't there one of those companies was like taking all that data and selling it?
It was
to...
23andMe.
Yeah.
It was 23andMe, and guess what? I have an unopened 23andMe DNA test right here.
Nice. You should DNA test one of your friends for fun.
No,
Figure
they
out what
went
he is.
defunct. The business went out of business.
Yeah,
and
they're
then they
done.
sold all the
Oh, they're done.
personal
Okay, cool.
information. Yeah, they went out of
Nice.
business and sold all the personal information of their customers to like the Chinese or something.
Dank, can you
Nice.
file a chargeback?
I didn't buy that. My liberal uncle bought that for me, and
Oh,
I said
that's-
thanks.
Wait,
and then I
why
set
would
it
your
over there.
why would your uncle buy it for you? Doesn't he know what you are?
Don't ask me.
He's your
man.
uncle.
I can kind of figure why. He wants him to do the test so he knows what minority he is, so he can try and play that to sway
That
his
is,
opinion.
yeah. You got to know how brown you are, so you know how oppressed you are. And
Honestly,
Sir, I would like to know your. I need to get
is-
that. There's that meme that it's some VT bird. She's like, "Sir, I would like to know what race you are, so I can call you a slur."
honestly, Dank, if you really want to have fun, you just get on a plane, go to Israel with that test, and see how long it takes you to get arrested.
I could.
Madden
We
Williams
don't
49
do
says
we don't do
I'm
genetic testing.
Israel has genetic testing banned. Actually, if you want to go down that route.
Yes, that's a very
I'm-
interesting.
They
I'm
have it
quite-
banned there, but they
I s-
have.
I don't want to talk about that too much, Richard. Okay, we got to keep things moving. I know it's fun to spring out about it, but we got to keep moving.
No, they require it for marriages here.
We have to talk about
That's
it.
all right. Rules for thee, not for me, or something like that. Says Madden Williams 49 says I'm quite fond of my Strybog. Just now trying to get my A3 tactical lower to work with Scorpion mags and get a super safety to work. Ooh, there you go. Super safety, Scorpion mags, nice.
That's why.
See, I like the the Strybog has been around long enough to where it has good aftermarket support. Thank you for the 499, madam. A Heathen from Texas for 10 says, I just got a Walther P99 AS Final Edition, looking to throw a Streamlight TLR7 HLX and need holster for it. Any suggestions for a sidecar style holster for it? T-Rex arms.
Who's that Indiana company Uncle OG was telling me about? I'll get back to you in a second.
I mean,
Right,
if you
we'll
don't do T-Rex Tier 1, there's a lot of holster manufacturers
Tier
out
one.
there.
QVO probably makes a style of two-piece that you can get. Heathen from Texas. Appreciate it for the $10, sir. Focus Trip's wife 499 says the corn folder isn't on their computer, it's on their work phone. Yes, like the conveniently placed T-Rex Arms employee. Just it's on my phone and I need to send it to myself or something. Oops, that was a botkin. Absolute Moonman for 5 says, have more money from your tax dollars. Reminder that Richard is always right, expressly because he has the best PFP. True. And it's actually his PFP is picked by the highest bidder. We don't announce that very often, but you can actually choose what Richard's PFP will be by simply just being the highest bidder for that. So thank you, Absolute Moonman. For
Make
the 5.
sure that you say what you want the picture to be in the super chat. Because we had somebody recommend something and then they didn't specify which one they wanted.
JMF199 says, I knew better, but I did it anyway. Shame on me. Yeah, in reference to his now deceased suppressor. Sorry to hear that, sir. Yeah, that's rough. I know, because people see like it's 69 grain or 77 grain and it's really cheap. Well, there might be a reason for that.
It's cheap for a reason. You get what you pay for.
All right. Next story. You guys, I put it on the thumbnails. We should probably talk about it. Attorney General Andrew Bailey. Breaking, an Ohio venue owner has canceled me from speaking at GunCon. Ironically, the topic of censorship because I shut down the transgender mutilation clinics in Missouri. I will not be silenced. Now, if you're not familiar, let me pull this back up. So GunCon 2025 just ended, I think yesterday or 28th, so 2 days ago, just ended. It's put on by the Gun Collective. You can see some of the panelists on there. You got Johnny B, who got kicked out. You got Tactical Advisor, Dangerous Freedom, Luke Quinso is there. Legally Armed America also got kicked out. It's put on by John Patton of the TGC and a couple other guys to help him out. I think Cody Armed Scholar, who's actually lost a lot of weight. Good on him. Mr. Guns and Gear, Guns and Gadgets. But essentially, they kicked out 3 of the more higher profile guests, which is like, why would you do that? That seems strange. And again, according to and one of them happens to be an attorney general, which is a wild move. Says they've been kicked out. Johnny B with the absolutely rockin' outfit also got kicked out 10 minutes into the first day. Now, keep in mind, they were not kicked out by the GunCon, right? They were kicked out by the venue and the people who own the venue. So basically, there was some more conspiratorial stuff because the TGC had set it up the year before at Brownells in Georgia. but they wanted a bigger venue to hold more people. So I think they wanted like 1,500 or 5,000 people. But then on the day of, they announced that according to the fire chief, that they could only have like half the people in the building or something like that.
500 was what I
yeah,
said. And
it
they
was-
were quoted 25 would be okay.
Right. So it got told, everything got really screwy basically at launch. And then the day of, when people are arriving there, the owners of the con itself, of the building, say, hey, actually, these 3 individuals, yeah, we want them all kicked out. They can't be on the premises. Which, again, Johnny B, the AG, and Mr. Illegally Armed America all get kicked out. Now, why did they get kicked out, mind you? According to, well, here's the TGC quick statement on that before we move to the reason why they get kicked out. It says, yes, this happened at my event, GunCon. It was 100% the choice of the venue to disallow AG Andrew Bailey, Appalachia Bees, which is Johnny B, and Legally Armed USA. And as you might guess, I am not happy about this. I will be making a full statement later this week when I return from Ohio. So yeah, the venue just absolutely screwed him over after, I imagine, he paid them a very, very large sum of money for this.
And then the
Is
venue kept the money.
the Attorney General, is he the Missouri Attorney General?
Yes, he is the
Okay.
Missouri Attorney General. Now, the speculation as of right now is that the reason why he got kicked out is because he has some very aggressive anti-child transition surgery, puberty blocker bills that he put in place in Missouri. So a anti-trans stance. Legally Armed America, Legally Armed America has made similar statements, and Johnny B has made many jokes at expense of transgender individuals. And this stream may or may not have a history of talking about certain individuals who get into,
I
certain
don't think
groups, call
anybody
themselves
on the
false
panel
God or
would be
something.
allowed there.
Yeah, dude, I have thought about this. I'm like, these guys have like some pretty base takes, but kind of, a little more normie side. I'm like, within a year, I'm not going to be able to go to any event in the industry whatsoever. Just straight up, focus trip is not allowed. I fully intend it to be that way within 12 months. I'll be persona non
Simply
grata at
too
any-
based to be let
You
out of the
say
house.
that- You say that as your co-host has Richard with the hard R in his.
Hey,
I'm sorry. I apologize.
But yeah,
I
so I
do-
mean, if we go through, this is the building that they were at. Oh, sorry. Before we get to that, what do you have to add, Jake?
I was gonna say, I saw the Missouri Attorney General on Sean Ryan just
Mhm.
like a month or 2 ago, and he, from what he says, he's very based. He's like he is a 2A absolutist, I guess you could say.
Yeah, he's, from everything that I've heard about that AG, he seems very good.
Yeah.
I've never spoken to him personally, but just the brief looking into him and some of his statements and whatnot, very good. So they just started kicking people out. So Johnny B was not able to attend his panel that people paid for. Keep in mind that I think Johnny B drove 15 hours to get there one way or something like that, right? So the other guys flew in. So there was lots of time and money invested, and also the people coming to this event to pay to see these people, to watch their panels, to interact with them or whatnot. And that just got taken from them at the last minute because Legally Armed America also got kicked out. People are speculating. Here's the article that was written by Samanda Rydell. Missouri's AG just issued emergency regulations to restrict gender-affirming care.
Mutilation
Yeah.
surgery. is what
Gender
we
affirming
call it.
care for children. What does that entail again? Issued new emergency regulations on Monday declaring that gender affirming care for minors is experimental. Yeah, we probably shouldn't be giving crazy mind altering drugs or cutting up minors. I just, we don't allow them to drink. We don't allow them to drive. We don't allow them to, in most circumstances, sign up for military service.
They can't get a tattoo. Don't chop off their dick.
Yeah,
I would go a little bit further, and I would say that it's not even experimental. It's tried and true. We use these drugs on prisoners for chemical castration.
Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
usually one of the parents. A lot of times it's the mother that's grooming the kid to believe this. And it's really sick, the doctors that do this. I almost think we need to start going after the doctors that perform these surgeries because it's like do no harm,
Child
but
abuse.
Well, I think it violates the Hippocratic Oath, 100%.
100%.
I also think it's super funny that like if you go to most European countries that are way more progressive than the United States, they've had this stuff outlawed for like a little while.
Of course, yeah.
Which
You
is
don't.
funny to me.
What is strange? What are we arguing for here? It's like there's on one side there's like a doctor with a bloody knife, and they're like, no, I should be able to mutilate this child, and the other side it's like, no, I just don't think that's right. Just on a
Those
moral
European
level.
countries also have they have a single payer healthcare system, right? So they would have to then pay for all of the medications, all of the surgeries, and everything else. Whereas here, it's that's a huge market.
Yeah.
How hard is it not to mutilate children?
Well, and so a lot of the times,
It
this
costs
quote unquote,
nothing. It's
the
free.
quote unquote gender affirming care, the dark side of this is that a lot of the times it can be done without the parents' consent.
Yep.
Or without both parents' consent, right?
In some
Your
instances,
kid goes off to school, and the school doesn't have to inform you, and they start doing it behind your back, and next thing you know, your kid gets chopped up.
there are certain instances where not only did the parents not know that it was going on, the parents were then charged for child abuse for not going through with it.
Wow.
Well,
Yes.
I have seen as a parent of young children, there are stories that just make you angry or sad or want to do certain things with hammers that we can't talk about on YouTube. But this is just one of those things, right? So so they got kicked out for their anti-transgender normal statements of just don't cut up children or give them permanent mind-altering substances that will irrevocably do damage to their minds and bodies. Probably just shouldn't do that, right? The company behind the event, Twist and Drill, is actually owned by a company called OnCap, more like All Cap, if you ask me. They are a Canadian company. You can go to their values section. Diversity is number 5. So as the chief diversity, equity, inclusion officer of Focus Strip Industries, that's a little bit low. That should honestly be number 1. But we can look at their board. It's just a little bit funny to me. Now, stop me when you notice something about their the way that the staff is laid out.
I got it. They're all AI pictures.
Well, no, do you notice that they stick
All the
all
women
of the
are in
women
the bottom.
at the bottom, all congregated together, basically. Executive assistant, secretary, executive assistant, secretary, executive assistant, secretary. They just throw all these women down at the bottom. Now, there are a few other women higher up. Mr. Lay, Simon Amat, Gregory Balin, just fine gentlemen that own this Canadian conglomerate, but I just found it funny that they just shoved all the women down at the bottom.
If we're talking Canada, I don't actually see any men.
Whoa, let's go.
What
Hey,
do you
yo.
mean? We have Mr. Gregory Balin, the senior advisor at OnCap, which is the owner of, for some reason, they're the owner of the Twist Drill in Indiana. I want to say that's where this event was held, and they just decided to put the foot down on these evil Americans, saying, "Yeah, you don't get to cut up children."
Yeah, you're hosting a more than likely predominantly right-wing convention in the U.S. You'd have to kick everybody out of there. What are they doing?
Yeah, I don't know why, because it's just a terrible move. I think it was designed to screw them over, though, because I don't think that OnCap really cares about the venue all that much. They just wanted to screw over the guys. Like, John's never going back there. They're never doing another GunCon at this event. or at this event center, right? The
Mhm.
Twist and Drill, which I mean, the Twist and Drill as a place is kind of cool. Let me see. Let me pull back up again.
Yeah. The
So it's
Globo Homo agenda.
well, it's like a old rustic building in Cleveland, and it's just it can be set up for just about anything. It used to be a big warehouse. So I mean, I kind of like it for that aspect, but yeah, they're never going back there again. Never happening. Honestly, and if they violated their contract, they should sue them.
Should get their money back.
Give them a charge back.
Yeah, and to be clear, I'm not blaming the Gun Collective or anybody in charge of the event, because this came from the owners of the venue. So it wasn't John couldn't do anything at that point. He was screwed. They already had his money and everybody was already there. This literally came down the day of.
Was this the only place he could have gone in his area or region?
Well, so they had done it down at the Big Brown L's in Georgia, but they wanted specifically a bigger venue. So they chose this place at Cleveland, Ohio, like a year ago. Right? And so this is why it's scummy. This is intentionally to screw them over, in my opinion. Right? Because they had heads up, they knew who was coming, and then the last minute they decided to say, actually, you can't do this, right? And I mean, as other people have pointed out, like there are actually red states, and if you're going to have one of these big conventions, you might as well support somebody who thinks like you. So go find some convention center somewhere that is owned by somebody who is not shitty, and give them your money instead. That's my opinion. Support the based economy.
Exactly.
Not some Canadian shell company.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying it on stream the other week. There's so many services and products nowadays that are all essentially the same thing that you can buy off of morals now, unlike in the past where you only had one or two options.
Very true. But with your wallet.
Yep. And I mean, I'm sure they paid a lot of money for that venue. Venues are not cheap. Not at all. So I'm sure they paid a lot of money for that. Ian Kemp for $10 says 10 on Richard's PFP being St. Floyd. That's good. All right. Ian Kemp has the high dollar amount for 10 on St. Floyd, which I second, by the way. That's good. Certainly not controversial. 6 Hour for $4.99 says, can we really have a discussion about trans issues without bringing up Trench on the panel? Now, as an expert in all things trans, I will have to delegate my thoughts and opinions on that to Trench Grenade. So I'll have to ask him next time I talk to him. Huge Ass 499 says, of all the places to choose, why did they go to East Cleveland for the con? How stupid can you be? Listen, I don't know why anyone would go to Ohio personally, but I imagine maybe the size per cost was good, and it's like centrally located near an airport. I think because remember, you're getting people from all over the country, right, to come in. So I think you do want it to be near a major airport where people can actually get to. But I don't know. I don't do anything in Ohio. I try not to even think about that place. So.
I mean,
and I imagine Cleveland is not the nicest city.
I got a horror story about Ohio and airports. I got rerouted to what I thought was an Ohio airport, Cincinnati. Or is it? Yeah, it's Cincinnati, or maybe it's Cleveland. Fuck, I don't know. The one that's down there in the bottom corner. Basically, I thought I was flying into Ohio, and it turns out I was flying into Kentucky, and it's the same city, which really messed up my car rental and everything else. Yeah, it really.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an oof.
Yeah, and then
you're going to the right state.
Well, and then I was trying to get around in the city itself, and it's a nightmare. I recommend avoiding Ohio at all costs.
It's not even a real place.
Capital of Ohio. It's one of those unknowable things. 6 Hour for 499. It says hit 1 to bring Trench up to tell his trans story. It must be very sad. No, trans stories always end well, and they're very edifying. Yes, I think that's what I see out of the happiness statistics. 6 Hour for 499.
41% of the time they don't end very well.
You know,
Or-
Maybe they end well. I don't know. I don't know.
Depends on your definition of ending well.
That's true.
I'm not going to one of these events. That's for sure. 6 hour 499 says smells like tuna on the bottom of the list.
Oh, classy.
Huge ass for 49. Speaking of classy, huge ass says bring the con to Branson, Missouri, tourist town, red state, pro 2A climate. Yeah, I don't know why you would want to give your tax dollars to like people who hate you. I don't know, it just seems bad. I like the idea. Thank you, huge ass, for the 499. Absolute Moon Man for $50.
Yeah. Damn.
Are you trying to have sex with me?
Says Richard's PFP needs to be Tito Pair. All right, they're fighting now. Now I did look this up. I had no idea what this was, but look at that. Look at that. That's cute. That's your new PFP. Hi.
All right. Send it to me.
It could be way worse, bro. It could be way worse.
Just so you know, John, your mic's kind of cutting in and out.
It was a little bit.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello? Is it all right?
Sounds
We
better
good?
now.
It was like the background noise was overriding it somehow. I don't know. Very strange.
It did sound like your noise canceling was being too much, like you were too far from your mic, maybe.
Fine.
I took it
I
off.
think his wife is yelling at him in the background.
She might be. The kids are freaking out. They're just fighting it out back there. All right. Moving on to, unfortunately, an even worse story. No way to transition from trans kids getting. Actually, speaking of trans surgeries that go wrong, there was a new Sig discharge video. Now, Sig and discharge together just doesn't go well.
You'll feel it in your loins.
True. But he paid $50 to be a gay weeb, so he's a gay weeb who has money. So we have this gentleman on the left. He is a spoiler alert. He is appendix carrying a P320. Now, this is not, I want to be very clear, this is not a graphic video. However, you understand what happens in it.
Use your imagination.
So while this is not a graphic video, we understand what has happened here. Okay. So just forewarning, if you don't want to feel bad, do not watch this.
Close your eyes for 10 seconds. You'll be fine.
Oh, no.
I hope it's all still there.
Now, I don't. We
You
can't
did not
hear.
care.
No. Well, we can't hear what they're saying. This guy might be like, "Hey, can you call an ambulance?" And then this guy shuffles off to go grab his phone or something, right? Or the shop phone, wherever they might be. But because we can't hear what they're saying.
I like to think that guy's just walking off, saying, "Not my problem."
I like to think that he's
saying to himself, "Is that a fucking P320?"
Yeah, beat me to it. I was just saying,
honestly,
he'd probably be walking off saying, "Man, I told you not to buy that Sig."
My expert
Damn it,
opinion
Bob! I
on
told
this,
you can't buy that.
my expert opinion on this situation is that the guy obviously was using bad ammo, and that's what
Bad
caused this to happen.
holster, bad ammo, weapon light.
We are going to slow it down, so you guys will kind of. There is some speculative. Sig could say, "Oh, he put his finger in the trigger," right? Because of what we're going to see. So we don't know if this was exactly a completely uncommanded discharge, but yeah, he did have that go off. He did have that go off in his pants. But if we back up to the actual incident itself,
that boy
so he walks
right.
Well, listen, even if the bullet misses you, if you shoot right next to your junk and leg, it's going to be powder burn all on the
Not just powder burn. You're gonna actually have skin tear because of the blast.
the pressure, the blast, all of that.
It's not a pleasant thing.
So let's
Especially if it's
play, and then
below the
we're gonna go frame by frame because he's like sauntering over. He places his hand on it, and then
Belt, it looks like, right?
belt, maybe his belt, honestly, but it looks like he lifts up. So I don't know if he's going to draw, and then right there it blows up.
He also could
You
have been
can-
just lifting up his shirt to.
Yeah,
grab
it looks like he's lifting his belt entirely, because if you look, the back of his pants are starting to come up as well right before it
So
goes
maybe
off.
he's just adjusting his pants, and it goes
Yeah.
off.
That's
It
what it
probably
looks like to
starts
me.
sag a little bit.
Yeah, because right there is when it goes off. Because let's back it up for a second. So walks up. Yeah, it's so fast. Maybe he's not drunk. Maybe he is just pulling his pants up, and it.
Yeah, we don't know. For all we know, he could have been adjusting his balls that stuck to the side of his leg.
Well, the only thing is he does drop the gun out. The gun does get dropped out. It falls on the ground there. It's hard to see, but
Maybe he was getting ready to take some revenge on his coworker right there, and things just didn't go well. You never know.
It could have.
He pulls up on his shirt a little bit, and you can see the gun is about to fall out right there. So the gun is now in the bucket.
Wow.
The gun and holster in the bucket.
I wonder if he had some crazy
is that his
like.
belt? Is that his belt? Was he trying to take his belt off?
Oh.
Maybe
No.
his belt wasn't
I think
on though.
that's-
No,
that's
that's
those
something,
already-
that's
Yeah,
something
that was
hanging
something else,
there. It looks like.
It looks like he doesn't have a belt on, does he? If you go back to where he's backside, I can't really tell.
Yeah, whatever that is something hanging.
Yeah, I
Oh,
just
he
see if
dropped
had
the
his
gun
belt
in
or
the
not.
bucket.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
the gun
no,
fell.
I think it's
It
dropped.
fell into the bucket. Yeah, for sure.
I wonder if
Do
it was
we
just
know-
tucked into his waistband, like he had no holster for it or anything.
Possible.
Do we know who sent the video
Well-
in? Do they have any backstory on it?
So I saw this first on, ironically enough, Conceal Carry Trainer, which is a channel that we've made fun of in the past for doing the dry fire stuff before. They've done a lot of like shill videos for that, but they posted this video, and I do not know where it came from. And then Ben Steger reposted it as well. But so here's David. David has a little bit more background on this. David for $10 says he went to adjust his belt to sit on the bucket, and it went off while adjusting. Carry Trainer knows the source material owner. Guy 2 went to get keys to drive to the hospital. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Right. Because Carry Trainer does have a full video on this, not just the clip. So if that is what he was doing, he was going to adjust his belt. But I do see enough wiggle room here for SIG defenders to be like, oh, well, obviously he was trying to adjust his holster and put his finger in the trigger guard, or his shirt was caught in his holster, or any other excuses that they wanted to pull from this.
Do we have enough information to know what the injuries were after the fact?
I can pull up the Carry Trainer video and see if we can just get that directly.
I think it was at least partial testicular deletion from what I heard, but I could be wrong.
Well,
From my
yeah,
medical opinion, it was at least an ouchie.
It hurt a little bit at least.
That's a big ouchie, bro. That's wild.
I like to think that the second guy, like, this is nothing new to him. He's already seen this happen before. This is just standard
Well,
operating procedure.
That's just Dave blowing his balls off again. Let me see if I can pull the regular video. So, Sig P320 discharge to groin. That's rough.
Once upon a time,
Skip around in this.
we were taught never to point a firearm at anything that we are not willing to shoot, kill, destroy. And for most of us, that goes for our testicles. Check this out.
That is exactly what we just saw.
Maybe it wasn't the gun that fell into the bucket. Maybe his member
The
just
injured
fell
person
off.
is a police officer that It was his issued weapon, a Sig P320. I don't know which model or when it was made.
That's a
it was in an inside the waistband holster in the front of his body. And what he said happened was he went to adjust the holster so he could sit on a bucket while he was going to wait for service to be rendered at the shop. As he sat down and made an adjustment to the holster, we saw the gun go off. I don't know if the gun came out of the holster. I don't know what kind of holster it was. I don't know if he touched the trigger. I don't know if the gun was modified. All I know, it was a 320 with duty rounds. I don't know what kind of ammunition it was, what brand or make, but it wasn't ball ammo. That projectile, when the gun discharged, took one of his testicles, gone forever, went into his leg and lodged somewhere in his knee. The person you see in the video that rendered aid when the video stopped, went to go get the car.
Wow. That's miserable. So that bullet actually, I didn't, because you don't see a lot in that video. So you don't see like a big blood trail or anything else like that. But apparently that bullet went into the back of his knee, like down through his leg. Brother.
Yeah. Wow.
That sucks.
That's a bad day.
Yeah, so
I think I might have to throw up a little bit. Ugh.
That's
ouch.
Because of course we can't see what he's actually doing with his hand, so that's what makes the video like not conclusive to what he's doing, because it could be a case of mishandling. But if he does adjust, pull up, and then bang. I mean, honestly, even if he's doing everything right, it could be something caught in the trigger guard, but that is...
It's just a shake awake on the Sig.
Well, so Protraband was sending me some stuff, and my Sig P320 does have a feature where the striker can go forward if the trigger is partially pulled, which is entertaining.
Awesome.
We did that test on my P320, so it is possible for wacky things to happen with the P320. It is, yeah. But thank you, David, for the 10 for extra context on that.
When you have dozens and dozens of stealth upgrades and multiple issues with a pistol, it's almost like you shouldn't trust it for appendix carry.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked
carry.
people are still carrying this gun with one in. I think the only dudes who are carrying it loaded, like, are cops that are issued it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's crazy. The thing that never happens happened again, allegedly. So we will see. I mean, we meme about guys getting their balls blown off, but he actually apparently did. So
I got one ball blown off, and then a bullet. Like, the worst possible path for a bullet to travel through a human is straight down.
Yep.
That's where it does the most tissue damage. So from his thigh down to his knee is like 18 inches, 16 inches of bullet travel through your body. Like, he's probably going to have damage walking, right, for the rest of his life from that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rough. With duty ammo, apparently.
Yikes.
I just hope he gets a good Jewish lawyer and gets his bag.
Get that bag. Well, if he's a
Okay.
cop, he might. If it's an issued pistol from a police department, he could get disability from it too.
Yeah. I mean, we hope for the best. We hope for the best after this has happened, right?
Yeah.
But that is another lawsuit waiting to happen.
If it was a department issued gun, do you think that he has legal recourse to sue the department?
That'd be something for a lawyer to take up. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Well. Is it in the contract to be able to sue the department? Because that gets into their contract law and what they have and what department it is and all sorts about what jurisdiction he's in. So I can't, honestly, we can't speculate much on that. I just hope that whatever he is legally allowed to take in terms of recourse, he gets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that there may be a case for negligence, like suing them for negligence.
Yeah, again, that totally depends on where they are, what contract, and all sorts of other factors that are difficult to understand. What is also difficult to understand is huge ass for $100 says hunted for Richard PFP to the pedo bear. Wild huge ass throwing $100 down, but I did
wait, there's more.
I did see something else.
Wait a
pop
second.
up. Absolute Moon Man for $120 looks at huge ass and simply says, for $120, just flexing on everybody.
Dude, they're opening up the war chest over this.
They need to have Tito Pair. Listen, Absolute Moon Man, how much has he paid now? $170 to have
dude.
This image. Oh, sorry, let me make this is worth $170 to Absolute Moon Man.
Yeah.
Absolute madman. Absolute madman.
Art is subjective, I guess.
Bro, it's perfect. Oh, dude, it's perfect. Aw. It was right there. Absolute Moon Man. Thank you very much. You do not need to do that. That is absolutely ridiculous. We're gonna have to shut this down. Thank you for that, sir. We greatly appreciate it. I will make sure that Richard is able to eat this month. T. Jones for $5 says, do you have any inside news of what went down with the Hill and Mac STG fiasco? Yeah, so Hill and Mac took a bunch of money for pre-orders and then sold the design to PSA after they couldn't meet pre-orders. Allegedly, they lied to PSA about how far along they were. So when PSA took over the project, allegedly, they were told that it was going to be very quickly able to turn around and make a real product, which is why PSA promised it for like 3 years. And turns out that the stampings were wrong and everything was off and it was all jury rigged together and PSA couldn't figure it out, but PSA can't figure out a 9mm. So I just, yeah, it was one of those things where they, damn.
Bro, but they can allegedly figure out.
But
current bidding war.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh, no.
All right. Well, I'm sorry. Apparently, friendship ended with Moon Man. Friendship ended. That image is gone because of just absolute degeneracy is back. Huge ass for $199 says Pedo Bear PFP.
Most profitable stream.
Who has
get ready for the
most
chargebacks?
I'm kind of retarded.
Who's made?
That's bait.
Uh-oh. Did we lose audio? Is my audio still working?
I hear you.
No, I hear you.
Yeah, you're good.
Why can't I hear anything? What happened?
I don't know.
We can hear you.
We hear you.
Damn it. I lost audio. What happened? You guys are probably talking. The audio or the audience can hear you, but I cannot. Hello, hello? Oh, what? What the heck happened? What is your problem?
Quick, say something nice about
back?
John while he can't hear us.
Can I hear you guys talk?
He
again.
can't
We're
hear us.
talking.
So anyway, I'm just going to take over John's show and run it from here for a minute.
Hello,
and
hello?
let everybody continue.
Hello.
Nope, still nothing.
Hello?
I get paid $200 to change a PFP and then my audio dies? What happened?
Yep.
You broke
That's how it
the
works.
I can't hear you guys. Can you guys hear me? Hold up a 1
Yes.
if you guys can hear me. Okay, perfect. You guys can all hear me. I can't hear you at all. Interesting. All right, I'll be right back. Richard,
let's
can
be
you entertain the
completely
people
silent.
and congratulate
like we're
Huge Ass
talking
on his
when he
wonderful
comes back.
selection of PFP?
Well, I will handle this while he is gone.
Lead us.
Huge
Keep up
ass.
there.
Thank you so very much. That's extremely generous. I will get that switched, and what I'll do is I will run both Tito Pair and Pedo Bear, both of them for one full stream each, because you guys, we started this as a joke, and I was not expecting this. This
Dudes.
is wild.
You need to AI combine them.
Ooh,
AI combine the.
I don't
Oh
know
my
if I can do that. I can try, but I feel like that might be disrespectful. I think these guys paid very large sums of money for me to just have a joke, and we're going to go through with the joke. So
Exactly.
hopefully John can hear us now, and he's back.
I can indeed.
Let's
Wonderful.
go. We fixed it.
I didn't change anything. YouTube or Streamlabs or my computer automatically changed the audio settings, so I had to go back in and rechange it all. It started to play the audio through my TV screen.
Ooh.
So
Oh,
That's awesome.
don't do that. Yes, as your agent, I must protest. Yeah, Vintage Warfare crying right now because YouTube slapped his monetization so that people could throw $200 at Richard to change his PFP to a pen.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. And then, oh my gosh, the huge ass. I think he's won the bidding war. Thank you very much for that, huge ass. You definitely have the hugest ass of all time, and we will make good on our promise to you.
I told him that I'm going to run both of them each for one full stream.
Okay,
because
perfect.
they were so generous.
They're
I was
insane, and I see
like,
Absolute Moon Man coming back as well.
They are. They started the bidding war. This is wild.
Yeah, no, this is what Richard feels like every time he logs onto the stream.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Richard feels every time changing his PFP.
I almost look like that right now.
Yeah. Absolute Moon Man for $50 says, I'm sweating, crying, wheezing, just heard it, unable to explain to my coworker what I find so funny is me setting my money on fire for a pair with an anime girl on it. I will set the world on fire for Tito holding hands with a Pinot Bear. Oh, maybe we have to combine them together for one ultimate PFP.
I
can make that happen.
Do.
You know, we are.
I'm kind of retarded.
But we will make that happen. We will make that happen to satisfy the two wildest commenters of all time. Thank you very much. Absolute Moon Man and huge ass.
Try explaining this entire thing to somebody 100 years ago.
You know with that thing, AI images AI can't recreate, and it's just the wackiest stuff out there. This is a stream AI couldn't recreate. Well, there's no good way to transition from that story, but I guess no, we could talk about Wes Raleigh, the alleged sniper using a shotgun with slugs, which we'll get into, accused of setting Idaho fire before killing two firefighters in Erie photo, or ID'd in Erie photo. So this happened yesterday into today. This whole sort of story was developing. Allegedly, what took place was somewhere outside of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which is just east of Spokane, which is kind of right around where I used to go to school. We have some friends in Idaho. I have some people that were actually there working this exact incident. And allegedly what happened was the individual set a fire to lead firefighters into a ambush where he just opened fire on a group of people responding to this brush fire. Motive unknown, reason unknown. Just one of the most evil things one could do to lure good people in by, them trying to do a good thing, risking their lives to put out a forest fire that was caused by an individual, only to be then gunned down by this individual. There are few things more evil than what this person did.
It's pretty wild. It's definitely an odd motive to be like, you know what? Fuck the fire department. These guys specifically are my target. It's just very odd to pick that, and
it's all odd. Depending on how conspiratorial you want to get, this happened to go down right as people are trying to repeal parts of the NFA, and there was all sorts of things with that going on. But the sniper who shot dead two firefighters, yes, he killed two firefighters. I think he shot 11 other people, and one person is in critical condition as of right now. In an ambush in Idaho was identified Monday as 20-year-old Wes Raleigh, and an eerie photo shows him delivering a sinister glare into the camera. Roland's body was found near his weapon at the scene of the fire he started Sunday afternoon to lure unsuspecting smoke eaters to the scene. He ended up killing two responding firefighters and critically wounding a third. Authorities said it is unclear whether Raleigh was eventually killed by a cop's bullet or took his own life. Now, I believe this is a story that came out at 1 p.m. Somebody has a lot of background noise. Not sure who that is. But this article came out at 1 p.m. and the follow-up article to it had even more details. This is an image he posted to Instagram just before the shooting took place. This is allegedly what he was wearing, camoed up, face paint, with a bandolier of shotgun shells. The song that he was listening to was by Bjork, which is Hunter. The lyrics are "I'm now the hunter," or something along those lines. And this was posted right before the incident started happening. So Idaho killer Wes Rowley posted a chilling online photo of himself masked in camouflage with a belt of rifle shells, shotgun shells. Thank you. Who is this? New York Post. Come on, you can do better than that. Along with the Bjork song lyrics with an ominous warning, "I'm going hunting," just hours before his deadly ambush, officials said Monday. The creepy post was among a slew of new details about the horror revealed at a sheriff's press conference. Authorities said Rowley had been living out of his car before the heinous attack, which left 2 firefighters dead and another critically wounded. So you can see them responding to all this. His abandoned car was even rolled off a mountain ledge to prevent him from escaping, while fire engine wheels were deflated to keep him from stealing one and slipping away. No motive has been identified in the attack, but officers have not yet searched Rowley's vehicles. Authorities do not believe he left a manifesto, and he has no known ties to any Mideast terror group, nor said. Now, some people were claiming that, this was on a mountain near some old neo-Nazi thing that had been burned by the fire department 24 years earlier. It was like kind of close to the anniversary in the same area. So some people were theorizing that this could be a, white nationalist terror attack, for lack of a better term. However, again, there's no actual connection there.
Not enough information yet, really, on anything. Only thing I've seen is people freaking out saying his parents are Trump supporters.
Right, which he was born in California, and he's only been in Idaho for like a year and a half, I think. So the suspect in the shooting that killed 2 Idaho firefighters and injured another is 20-year-old Wes Rowley. He has a prior arrest for assault in 2024. The incident involved him allegedly attacking a woman with a knife, for which he was charged with felony assault with a deadly weapon. He pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of misdemeanor assault, receiving a sentence of 180 days in jail with 150 days suspended. He was also ordered to undergo a mental health evaluation and complete anger management classes. Listen, I'm going to say it. All right. If you assault another human with a deadly weapon, maybe you should go to prison for more than nothing, because it says 180 days in jail with 150 of them suspended. So for assaulting a woman with a knife, assault with a deadly weapon, he got 30 days in local jail.
Yeah.
With 150 days suspended.
Well, that's what I'm saying. 180 days, quote unquote, but 30 days actually in jail and 150 suspended. Right. So he only spent 30 days in jail for assaulting somebody with a knife.
These judges are nowhere near hard enough on crime.
Rowley's social media activity, particularly on X, revealed disturbing content he posted about his disdain for authority figures, including police, firefighters, and expressed radical views. His post included threats and general hostility towards society, which raised concern among those who followed him. Additionally, he was known to have made threats against his family, leading to a no-contact order being issued against him. How did this guy undergo a mental health evaluation and pass it?
That's
lying.
Well, but if you just pull up, he has a no contact order against his family. He makes threats to people. Like, how do you pass a mental health evaluation after assaulting a woman with a knife?
How do you pass a mental health evaluation when you express that you hate firefighters? That's like saying you hate kittens.
Yeah.
Didn't he also live stream when he was doing the shooting or something right before it?
No, he posted to his Instagram story before.
Okay.
That was that photo that we saw in the last article.
Okay.
I may have started a very distasteful rumor in voice chat yesterday saying that he live streamed while wearing a Weekend Gunner hoodie saying subscribe to Focus Trip.
Wait.
I didn't hear all that. I just heard he lied.
That's
It was
not
real.
real.
That did not
That's
happen.
not real. That's
That did
not
not
real.
happen.
No, that was
I'm
a joke.
sorry, I'm sorry.
AI, YouTube overlord. That was a joke. That's not real. That never happened.
This man is
Weekend-
evil. He did very bad
Week-
things. Very
Weekend
bad.
Gunner hoodies might be based, but they do not endorse terrorism in the Pacific Northwest. That's not real.
That says the man wearing a Weekend Gunner hoodie and a balaclava.
Well, there's two of us wearing the Weekend Gunner hoodies right now.
AFAB, all firefighters are bad.
No.
Okay, no.
So here is the update. So the suspect in the Idaho firefighter shooting used a shotgun, not a sniper rifle, per Kootenai County Sheriff, which means he was much closer to the victims than originally thought. The assailant, Wes Rowley, interacted with the firefighters prior to taking them out. Rowley has previously expressed interest in becoming a firefighter, the sheriff said. Yes, his grandfather said that he had tried to join the firefighters and gotten denied, or he had some interest that was not reciprocated, and he decided to target them specifically, I suppose, is the only like little thread of a motive that I can come up with, or that people have theorized, is basically that he spurned, like he got turned down from becoming a firefighter or whatnot, and then decides to act vengeance. But we'll listen to this little report here.
Sheriff, can you describe the weapon that you found next to it?
It appears right now we have a shotgun that was used, but we're still processing the scene.
So obviously a shotgun is not a sniper weapon.
Correct.
Do you know what kind of weapon that was?
Well, we're still processing the scene, but let me kind of set the scene for everybody. When you're in a rural area and you're heavily treed, heavily brushed, and when you're taking fire, then it just adds a whole different dynamic to the situation. So what was reported by people on scene, by peace officers on scene, that they believed that they were taking sniper fire, yes. And then that's where that is.
Well, so what happened in reality was this gentleman was using a shotgun, and the information that I have was shotgun with slugs.
Mm-hmm.
So it was probably a pump action shotgun. I think he was 20 years old. I'm not sure about Idaho laws, so I don't know if you're able to get, like if you're restricted on what you can buy before you're 21 in Idaho. I don't know if they have any sort of restrictions in place there, but probably just a El Cheapo shotgun using slugs to take these guys out between 50 and 100 yards away. There's, again, some people say that he interacted with them before he started shooting, maybe to draw them in even closer. Possibility, but he had a full bandolier of ammunition there, and I believe one of the further reports that I saw said that he ended his own life with assumedly a handgun. But yeah,
Could have been a shotgun.
Could have been, yeah. But to the firefighters, if you hear one round coming in at a time from a distance, you're not going to know that, oh, that's definitely a shotgun with slugs. It's just going to sound like any other high-powered rifle to you, right?
Especially if you watch your buddy right next to you take a slug round and it essentially, lays him open, you're going to think that that's some type of high-powered sniper rifle.
And they're probably also wearing quite a bit of kit
They're wearing a bunch of gear, yeah.
Fight a fire, so you probably can't hear very well.
Yeah.
Right.
And who knows what it, I mean, I personally don't know what it's like to get shot at by slugs from a shotgun. But I'm sure it's probably not like a normal sounding experience, and they were probably very confused as to what was going on because they showed up to put out a fire, and all of a sudden,
right? And
they're getting
that type of thing is
slugs.
That type of thing is terrifying, right? Because you're in a heavily wooded area against a camoed opponent that you do not know necessarily where he's at, and he's just taking pot shots at you, right? It is almost miraculous that only 2 people were killed and the rest were just injured, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's the, like, I hate to use the term, but like the fog of war, where it's like when you're getting shot at, you don't know what is happening, and you're just going to make the best educated guess you can, and it's going to be, yeah, I'm getting shot at. I don't know from where, from multiple angles. There's probably multiple people here. Like, I don't know what's happening. I don't want to die.
in the original reports that you hear from the firefighters as they're being engaged, they say multiple contacts, right?
Mhm.
Or multiple people, we're getting shot, we're surrounded, or things like that, because they just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're
They
in the
just don't know.
fray, you don't have all the information yet.
No.
Yeah, and if he's all camoed up and he's running from point to point, shooting at angles, I mean, it's pretty easy for them to be like, yeah, I think there's like 3 people out here, because he's just running around, blasting us every time we try to figure out where he is. He's somewhere else.
All around, just a sad
Yeah,
situation.
it's a rough day.
Terrible.
Rough day to be dealing with all that.
And I'm not sure if there's I haven't seen yet of a official give, send, go, or a fund for the families of the 2 firefighters who were injured. I haven't seen an official one yet, but when we do, I think it is very fair to pass that around and support if possible, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Those guys are literal, like, nobody hates firefighters, okay? They just go out there, they don't do anything. They go out there and they help people, they sacrifice their own lives. And it's not like some people hate police officers or whatnot, but with a firefighter, you don't even have that baggage, right? They just go out there and they fight fires, and they try and help as many people as possible, right?
They fight fires, they save kittens, they make calendars.
Exactly.
Well, it's like a firefighter who's going to go into a burning building to try and save you, or to try and save somebody's farm, or all the things that they do is kind of just purely selfless, right? In terms of the effect they have. So to intentionally draw them in, to ambush them,
because he didn't get a job, perhaps. Like,
so
perhaps
He's mentally unstable.
I mean, we know
Just a
that
crazy
there
person.
was whatever did happen. Bad family dynamics. He had a no contact order with his parents, so probably not all that much in his life. He's living out of his car. Looks like an awkward kid, and so somewhere along the line, and obviously very aggressive as well, being that he assaulted a woman with a knife at one point. It sucks to say it, but people like this should just be in prison.
Well, I think
some sort of, or an asylum, or some sort of place where he cannot injure anyone else other than possibly himself. Right.
Now,
some
do we
people
know
are-
if they were on any medications, SSRIs, anything like that? Has the family made any statements?
I have not seen a thing from the family other than people circulating photos of what they allege are the parents, and one of them is wearing a MAGA hat. So people are like, "Oh, right-wing parents led to
but he
this
had a
child
no
doing this thing."
contact order.
Well,
I think-
right. So,
Yeah.
And I seen
but
the
Brooksman
picture.
had something to say though.
Oh no, I was just going to say some people just don't belong in our society, and sometimes they get medicated, and that can control it to a certain degree. But then you have to always make sure they take their pills. Some of them just are not compatible. So, and this guy, I was thinking like, okay, convenient that this event happens, and then I hate to say it, but I saw the picture of him. I'm like, yeah, this dude kind of looks like there's something not quite right there.
It looks like there is a hormonal imbalance present.
It looks like the hormonal imbalance might have
People
been
were speculating
medical.
that he might have had some sort of transitional period. If you look at his most recent photos versus when earlier on in his life, like people are alleging that, okay, there's a trans element to this as well. That is purely an allegation as of this point in time. I haven't seen any actual evidence of that or any of his personal views that support that, or like oppose.
The
or
only
anything.
thing that
he just has he has long hair and he's slightly effeminate.
Well, the
Like,
one that
that's
I
what we
seen
have.
was the one that they claimed was law enforcement passing around the specific image that is the most up to date that they were using before they got the person. And to say they look a little effeminate is a bit of an understatement.
Yeah,
I mean,
I couldn't
what
tell
I
if it
imagine
was a
is
woman.
this is what I imagine is his mugshot, which this looks like just, I don't know, a normal dude of some
like a dude.
descent. And then this is a little bit more effeminate. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one more. I'll see if I can find it.
I don't
What's
know.
the picture that he posted on Instagram before? I mean, we can't really see a lot
Oh,
of
well, the one that's in the thumbnail. They're talking about this one right here.
No, the one to the left there, the full version of that, and there was one other one too.
He kind of looks like a Fez from that '70s show. Sorry, not a time to joke.
I mean, more
No,
information will come out. Time will tell, right? Like we'll get more
I don't
information on it.
honestly at this point. I don't really like. I know it's a big topic, but I don't really think it matters what was his issue. We all know he's really messed up, and he committed an act of like pure evil. And there's evil people in the world who do absolutely horrible things, and sometimes they have like little to no reasoning for doing the thing. They just do it.
We'll find out
Regardless of
more.
what specific mental health issue was at play, it was at play.
Yeah. And honestly, this just to me just reinforces the fact that you should always carry a gun and don't ever get complacent. But I feel bad for firefighters because apparently they can't do that.
Yeah,
And,
it's a little bit of a safety issue to carry a loaded gun into a fire. The rounds cooking off literally.
Yeah, you don't want to
Get out of here,
end up like
Richard.
one guy with the Sig earlier in stream.
Also, if you're, not if you got homies who are in bad places and they're living out of their car, it might be good to check on them. Make sure they're doing okay.
Yeah.
Check on the
And
boys. Now, this guy might have
you
wished
have
people are gone, but hey, make sure your people are okay.
If you have a couch, offer it up.
Yeah.
Long
Even
as
one
they're good- long as they're good
conversation
people.
can make a difference.
It's true. It's
I
very
will say
true.
people were speculating on the medication, and I do have it on good authority that the suspect did in fact ingest 1 ounce of lead towards the end of the incident. So I don't know if that means anything, but
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
We got
Oh, that's horrible.
I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I don't
no.
really care about this androgynous motherfucker. I'm just real sad about the firefighters who lost their lives, though.
Yeah, imagine responding to a call now after this, and they have so much gear already. I don't know if it's really feasible to plate up, but yeah, it's terrible. The guy's a bad dude.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna create a lot of scars for those guys going out to calls that they're more suspicious of, for sure.
Yeah, what a POS.
Yeah. Well, it's like now too. The firefighters are gonna not like this. I'm not saying this would happen, right? But the fire chief might be like, "Hey, we're not going on scene till the police are there." And I got somebody's house that's burning, and they need it, and they might be like, "Well, we're not going in until the cops are there."
No,
'cause
that
we don't wanna
is
get shot at."
that is the standard operating procedure for firefighters, especially and paramedics. If they're going in, and the second that a gun is presented, they have to leave.
Makes sense. Yeah, they just didn't know, so it'd be even like a more preemptive, like if this guy wasn't open carrying when he interacted with these guys, they're just like, hey, we're not doing anything until we have security here, law enforcement. So Letacillin, lol. Nice profile picture.
Well, there isn't a good resolution to the story, but does anybody have anything that they would like to add before we move on to finishing up this stream?
Well, they always go for soft targets. I think the lesson here, if there is one, is don't let yourself be a soft target. Carry if you can, and prepare to defend yourself.
100%. Well, at one point, while they were still trying to track this guy down, the Idaho, and I know people want to get into like conspiracies about the Idaho sheriff who also worked with Mossad at one point and get into that whole situation. But at one point, he was like, if people are out there and they see this guy running around, just kill him. Right.
Where is Garantham? Based, very based.
True. What the heck, man?
Could you imagine the publicity if a YouTuber actually did manage to get the kill shot?
He sneaks onto Grantham Ranch, starts a fire, and he's just out there like, what the fuck? It just smokes him.
Actually,
Grantham redemption.
That sounds like Wild Knot's stories in the Discord where he just writes fanfic about different GunTuber characters. That's exactly what that sounds like.
I love that.
Turbo autism.
Yeah,
you know what? If happens, forgiven. Yep, no problems. Grantham redemption arc.
There has been one YouTuber who did smoke a dude on camera. Ended up being one of Terran Tactical's harem. she is a police officer, and she was, if I remember correctly, enjoying a nice hot dog, and call came over, and she basically went out and engaged a dude who was like trying to ram people. Body cam on and everything. There was at least one other angle of the shooting as well. So I'll see if I can find that sometime. That'll be interesting to watch.
I thought that story was going in a different direction.
I had
Me
no
too.
idea
Enjoy
where that was
hot dog.
happening.
What are we talking about here? Terran Tactical. Ooh.
Enjoying a hot dog was the sus part of the story.
I bet she did smoke somebody. You're right.
Oh.
Oh man, I just seen this. I forgot that that's how the film started.
Predictive programming. Next. The guy's name was funny. Heathen from Texas says for $5 positive of the P99. It has a decocker, so you won't decock yourself. Yeah.
Nice.
Based double action enjoyer. Thank you, Heathen. 6 hour for 199 says now he's officially shooting blanks. Nope, one ball is all you need. Fake news. Fake news. One ball is all you need. I knew a guy. All right, funny story. Sorry to veer off, but
you're good.
A guy in my high school baseball team, shortstop, got hit with a line drive straight to his cup. Had to get rushed to the hospital. Lost a testicle. Still fully functioning. Still doing well. I think he's married now.
Hell yeah.
So,
Speaking of missing testicles, we never finished that story about Hitler.
Perfect. Zephon for $5 says if a tub of mayo could talk, it would sound like Richard. Wow.
Oh my God.
That's so mean.
Roasted. Damn, son. That's
Damn.
Nope.
And right after you kick him too. That's crazy.
The disrespect is unimaginable.
I see him. Solo Gordon for $199 says he's going to be Sig sore in the morning.
Ooh.
Ouch.
Does he get half off of a vasectomy now?
Good question. That's for the medical professionals.
Yeah.
Pat for $199 says just act like he's not here. I don't know which one that's in reference to.
He's probably referring to guy number 2 in the video.
Oh,
No.
He could be wrong though.
Yeah. He's probably
Saunters away as a man's bleeding out.
Focus Trip's wife for $4.99 says you need a PFP stream, but no one is allowed to put their name. Okay,
Ooh.
Interesting. But people would figure it out so fast. It's not like we sound the same, but it would be funny to watch. Thank you.
You need like
Thank you for the
AI
$4.99.
voice modulators.
Focus Trip's wife 49 says Perno Bear with Tito as his stomach. There you go.
That'd be pretty good, yeah.
You mean like this?
Combining the PFPs. Ooh, there you go. You did it.
No.
Good job.
Already.
Oh no. For the 189.
What's he gonna do with that pair?
How old is that pair? How old is that pair?
This pair is actually 5,000 years old.
It's actually
Absolute Moonman for 5 says, my brother in Christ, I can't explain this to someone now. Yeah, do your best to explain this whole night to them. It's a great story. You should.
If you do, set up a camera and record it because I want to watch for scientific purposes.
Central Sands Defense for $10 says, having been a part of a rural homicide manhunt, it is extremely labor intensive, slow, and sketch. The amount of bad info and shenanigans is absurd. Ellie is slow. One dude is mobile out in the woods, which, yeah, like they said in the videos, they pushed the guy's car off the hill. They deflated the tires so he couldn't steal a car. Because if you're trying to chase down one man in rural Idaho, like, the amount of drones, they had choppers in the area. They had hundreds of police officers out. They were trying to get this guy. Now, modern tech with thermal drones would be the one thing that I would say does give the police a huge edge, like because you can cover a huge amount of area and pick up people almost
it's a lot
irregardless
harder
of where.
with a fire too.
That's what I'm wondering is because,
but only if he's near the fire, because it wasn't a huge fire. He set the fire and they got it cancel. But if he's not next to the fire, then he's still going to stick out like a sore thumb.
They made it seem like the fire was rather large because it got to the point that they had to abandon vehicles, right? They flattened the tires on their own fire trucks to leave them there.
Well, right,
From
because
what
they
I
didn't want him
heard-
taking them. Because I think that they had to retreat from the vehicles that they were hiding behind.
From
And
what
so I'm
I
pretty sure
heard, they were unable to put out the fire because of the threat. And by the time they actually found his body, they had to pick it up and move it off site before they could do an investigation because the fire was
moving
getting
towards them.
close. I think Logan might have said something about that.
I saw the initial report where the officer was detailing everything, the after action report that they had the following morning, and it basically stated that they had to move the body, and the crime scene that they would have normally inspected has now since burnt. But I wasn't sure exactly why they went ahead and flattened all of the tires on the fire truck, and then
because they didn't know where he was, so they didn't want him to take the. It's one guy. It's one camoed up guy in the woods. Like, it is a literal nightmare.
Yeah. I'm wondering is it possible that this guy had possibly watched some of Garantham's videos on escape and evasion?
If he watched YouTube, then he watched Grantham videos. That's how it works. If you watch GunTube videos, Dogman Defense for 2. Yeah, well, that's the good and bad part about putting information out there is people can use it for bad. Dogman Defense for 2 says Logan face reveal. Logan has revealed his face. He just has a normal face, you know. You may not like it, but he has one. Thank you for the $2, Logan. Bushmaster on Rumble for 2 says the Sigger to transvestite pipeline continues to baffle us with its consistency. Sooner or later, sir. Sooner or later. Bushmaster for another 2 on Rumble for Jones. Tell the people the phrase to remember the 5 principles of patrolling. It is I should know this. What's the 5 principles of patrolling?
5 principles of I remember the last one's common sense. It's been a hot minute since somebody asked me that.
I don't know. Probably like change your socks. That's probably in there somewhere. I don't know.
Of patrolling. Let's see. I'm such a horrible. I'm not an infantry guy.
Because I know
Planning,
the
reconnaissance,
steel's
security
halt, if
control,
that's
and
what we're talking
common
about.
sense. Planning,
okay.
reconnaissance, security control, and common sense. I have not heard that in forever.
He's flexing on you. You're supposed to know
Yeah,
that.
he is. I'm coach. I'll just unenlist right now in my contract.
Ivana Gobble Your Knob Off for $2 says, I just came into the stream, but it's the Jews. Who are the Jews, sir? But thank you, Mr. Ivana Gobble Your Knob Off. Fantastic.
Very true. Very true.
Todd Dogs for 2 says, no lights are a burden. Are our burden. Rip to the firefighters. Yes, rest in peace to the 2 gentlemen who went out there to do their job and instead were faced with murder.
And also to all the people that got injured, because if they were getting hit with slugs, those are bad injuries. Getting hit with soft lead slugs, like
they said there's still 1 in critical. So
so
I mean, if you get hit in the slug anywhere, it's rough.
Yeah.
Get your prayers up, boys.
Yeah, actually,
huge. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to see if we could close out with prayer.
Maybe. Huge Ass 49 says, I'm too retarded with money. Please stop me. Nobody's going to stop you, Mr. Huge Ass.
More.
Thank you for the 199. Absolute Moonman for 5 says, not more retarded with money than me, Hugh. Yeah, you 2 are battling it out for top retard.
And I thought Logan sucked at shooting was bad at financial decision.
No, he's actually really good. I probably didn't spell that correctly, but you guys get me. Thank you for the $5, good sir. Well, you know, it is CZ month. So one little thing to end with here that I do want to mention is that it is true. I have a confession to make. I am, in fact, a CZ enjoyer. I have begun my Shadow 2 conversion. Actually, I have to shout out Mr. Ray Guitard on the Discord. We go to the local matches at Trash Shooters Gun Club. Good matches, real fun. But he lent me his Shadow 2 for the day, so I got to play around with the Shadow 2. Never shot it before, or maybe I had handled it like one time before. Never shot a Shadow 2 before. Tried it out in competition. Won the competition with it. Fantastic handgun. Might need to end up buying one. So I thought I'd throw this in here at the end. Any of you guys ever shot a Shadow 2?
Solid. So you've been converted slightly, it sounds like.
Slightly. I'm beginning the conversion. Well, so I have the Canic, which is like a cheater gun for carry optics, but the ultimate carry optics gun is a Shadow 2. This is the reason why all of the top competitors use a Shadow 2 for carry optics. It just is a better gun.
How does it feel being gay?
I got to be honest, the feeling it in my hands, the way that it, was a little aggressive with the brass grips on there. It kind of felt good in the hands, the little recoil impulse that you got out of it. Kind of liked it. Not going to lie. Not going to lie.
I've never shot a Shadow 2, but I've shot, well, actually, I don't know if I have. If I have, it just seemed like all the other CZs. I like the 75, like the older 75Bs, so I probably would.
It is a 75. It's an updated 75 that's designed for competition.
I'd probably like it, but, Glock is king, so.
I mean,
Hell yeah.
It definitely helped going from like the initial pull is like 8 to 10 pounds on the double action, but then the single action is like literally 1.5 pounds. So it helped going 1 for 1 on all the steels.
John confirmed carry optics curious.
Ooh,
Right.
That grunt.
I know. Listen, it takes a lot to get this body moving fast, okay? So sometimes just little
No,
grunts
hey,
just
if you're not grunting, you're not winning.
That's right. Well, I did end up winning. So actually, I should have overlaid the footage between me and Spencer. So me, Spencer, Logan, and Lance are going to Area 3 championships in September. Spencer shot that match with me, and we were within like 4 points, match points of the entire match. I think we were first and second on every single stage, so it was fun. It was a good time, and that was with the Shadow 2 that I'd never shot before, so I enjoyed it quite a bit. Yeah, the filming doesn't look great, but it was shot on a GoPro 10, so it's a little tough.
Just watching a video on a stream through YouTube 3 times over.
That too. Yeah, there's a little bit of junk.
Well, Hop said you were just that fast.
Oh, true. Yeah. It's not, the camera's not choppy. It's just literally that fast. It's missing everything.
What
else.
even is a bit rate?
Bitrate doesn't matter.
CZ has a bad mouthfeel. True. Bad mouthfeel on the CZ.
That is actually true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 10 FPS. Sorry, Delta 34. I'm sorry. If StreamYards didn't suck, then I wouldn't worry about it. For what I pay them every month, they should work better. Bushmaster for $2 says, Bones, the phrase to remember, the 5 principles of patrolling is pretty redheads suck cock constantly. AKA planning, reconnaissance, security, command and control, and common sense.
Typical infantry take.
Yeah.
Thank you, King.
Yeah. Pretty redheads, not constantly. Okay. All right. Good to know. Catchy, easy to remember. But all right, gentlemen, that is all that I have for tonight. If you guys don't have anything else that you want to add in right here at the end.
Do we have 3 more super chats to look at, or did we get those already?
Buy $8 Bibles that are wrapped in Cordura.
Get your Bibles for free, ladies and gentlemen. Big, whatever that company was, doesn't want you to know this, but it's free.
Go to SDI.
Southern Bible Institute. He's actually gone. Somebody kicked him. Bones, what do you got coming up, good sir?
I have a video I'm about to push out that's going to piss off a lot of people, but I think it's a good video. It'll be fun. It's going to be why the RXM is better than a Glock 19. And it's going to be like 30 minutes long. We're getting into
there
it,
you
boys.
Go. Dude, your last video.
Holy shit, is that 12 now?
12,000 views. Let's go.
That's wild.
Bones is moving up in the world. He's going to get big.
We're getting huge with bad takes.
Here's what we do. As soon as he gets big enough, then we start fake drama with him so that we can grift off of that as well. We'll be the Bones hater channel.
Bones is blowing up like Iran.
Honestly, people saying like I'm not even all the things I make videos on, I agree with. This isn't like I make an inflammatory statement. No, I'll die on any of the hills that I have made videos on. I'm just saying, I'll do it. I make nothing on No videos are made on this will be interesting, this will get a lot of attention. No, it's all shit I believe in.
Contraband, what do you got coming up, good sir?
Hey, we're going to make a video having some fun with the T-Rex situation a little bit more, just to button that up nicely. Then we'll have a nice message going out on the 4th, hopefully, for everybody to see.
I know that there's some demand for you to address the Trigicon bad China good allegations that have been floating around. So I feel like that's a topic you should make a video on.
I think we will. We do have to have that conversation at some point. I don't know if a lot of people are ready for it, but that will be coming down the road eventually as well. So there you go.
Mm-hmm. Jake, what do you got coming up, good sir?
Really nothing. Hopefully going to be getting back to more competitions and yeah, just shooting. And that's pretty much it.
Nice.
I wish you luck with it.
Also, Christ is king, as always.
Hell yeah.
Very true. Dank, what do you got coming up, good sir? Anything you want to shout out before we get on out of here?
No, not really. Work out, get fit, train with your concealed handgun.
True. All fact.
Big facts. And Richard, what do you got coming up that you want to shout out before we hop on out of here?
Not a whole lot. For those who aren't aware by now, I take the streams and I clip them down into shorter bite-sized segments, so it's easier to watch and consume. So do that if you would. That would be greatly appreciated. Check on the homies.
Yep.
Check on your people.
That's all I got.
True and real.
That's all I got.
Sweet.
Oh,
well,
I do have one more thing.
Perfect.
What was that noise?
Well, with all that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you guys very much for hanging out, for watching, for supporting Huge Ass and Moonman for being absolutely retarded fighting over a PFP, but we greatly appreciate it, good sir. I see everybody else in the chat. I want to thank you guys just for hanging out, watching, being with us, supporting. We got more stuff coming out, and I hope you guys are doing well. Reach out to the homies, send prayers, and support the individuals who were killed in the attacks yesterday. And yeah, it's kind of a downer of an ending of a stream, but it has to be done. With all that out of the way, gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. God bless.